Welcome, everybody, to the Making Awesome podcast. This is episode 214, an episode that we figured we would have to make at some point, but never this early. We're joined by the ever effervescent and apparently quite adorable, according to the comments section, Mr. Jacob, Lord of Construct 3D. Jacob, gonna need the Backstreet Boys from you first. The people at home know who you are, where you've been, what you've done, and as long as you love me. And then we'll get on this one.
Hi, as you can already tell, I'm Jacob. I'm the CTO of Construct 3D. I build 3D printers and I sell them in the UK. It's fairly that. We build very high speed, high quality, high reliability 3D printers for the prosumer and light industrial market.
Technically the first Bambu printer as well.
Yes, we actually
Yeah.
came out when we launched. I think it was either 3 days before or 3 days after when Bambu Lab actually announced their launch at the same time. So we even launched the company at the same time, but ours have actual bamboo. So that's nice.
That's fair. Yes. And so Jacob is here. We're going to be discussing some more of the implications of this, as I put in the comments. And if you're listening back to this audio only or watching back after it's live, the goal of this is talk more about the implications in terms of exactly what we know about it. We might discuss a little bit of that, but the bulk of it is going to be saved for a Print Fix Friday episode coming up here in this coming week. If you are not a channel member and you want the full raw episode of that Print Fix Friday video, I highly recommend that you adjust those settings, become a channel member, whether it's through Patreon, PayPal, YouTube channel members, it doesn't matter. And at the $10 tier and higher, you get to come hang out in our private Discord where, we've been talking about this for a long time and actually had a couple of fun discussions. And I see Canuck creators here saying, are there shenanigans afoot? Well, sir, you should know it's a live stream. We are consistently and constantly shenanigizing. But Jacobs, before we went live, you said that we should probably have a bit of a disclaimer section. So I
Yep.
will let you do your part, then I'll do mine, and we'll jump into talking.
Yep. No worries. So the reason I bring it up is bias is an inherent thing. I do run a manufacturing business. Technically, we are competitors. Now, while I personally don't class myself a competitor to Bambu Lab as we service different products in different market segments, we still make 3D printers at the end of the day, and there will be an inherent bias with any topic that I come out with. Now, I am here as Jacob, the 3D printer enthusiast, not Jacob, I'm here to sell you 3D printer guy. So I'm here to try and give a different insight that Grant might not have or might also share with me. But just be aware, bias is a thing, and I do run a business. So, and I'll pass it over to you now.
Well, and if his accent wasn't of any clue, Jacob's in the UK and has a better understanding of UK and EU law, where I mildly at best understand US law. Before I do mine, big thanks to Steve Builds for 20 months supporting. He said, "Good morning, 3D Musketeers, Amber and Jacob." So I'm Amber's probably here. Amber is currently out at the Mount Dora flea market enjoying some time with one of her best friends. So, and where was the comment? Bargust Isu said, "Is this the 'I told you so' episode?" Guess you'll have to find out.
Yes.
As far as my disclosure goes, I am not a printer manufacturer. I don't do any of that. I built a printer once from scratch, and that reminded me, and the fact that it is currently suffering from the flat surface problem reminds me that I won't be getting into this market anytime soon. I have obviously had some bad experiences with Bambu in the past, and from day one have always had a bit of a eyebrow raised as to data collection, security, and privacy. So when this came out, it was just kind of a wow, they're doing it this early. Who knew? But yes, I saw this one coming from a mile away, told you all about it many times in videos, and apparently no one seemed to listen. So there might be some arrogance that comes off here. I'm going to be straight with you on that. I might sound a little arrogant in some of this, and that's why we're going to edit the Print Fix Friday video. Don't forget to leave a like, get subscribed, enter to win some awesome printed solid Jesse filament. And speaking of Mr. Steve Builds, when we are done, we're going to kick you over to go hang out with him where he is going to be updating printers, but none of them are Bambus. Steve, I don't know if you planned this stream that you were doing where you're just doing a stream updating like 24 printers, but I think it's hilarious and I love it. Thank you. David Connor Shover with the $2 and Russ jumping in with a fat 20. Thank you all very much. And if you do want to help keep these streams ad-free, you all know what to do. Couple of bucks goes a long way to helping. I'm now going to shut up with all the, nice, I don't know, CTAs, and let's just jump into it. So for those that have been living under a rock, Jacob, you want to give them the TLDR as to what happened or what is going to happen if you have a Bambu printer?
The long story short is firmware update gives Bambu Lab a lot more control over the machine that they previously didn't have. That is the TLDR. They will be changing terms and conditions. You lose control. In reality, it's a bit more malicious without being openly evil. And we'll get into that in a little bit later because there's a lot of nuance when it comes to these sort of things. And there's a lot of unspoken truths. And you have to read between the lines when it comes to like the terms and condition changes and just what it means for 3D printing in general, along with what it means for Bambu Lab printers in general.
We should probably also point out, we are not lawyers. This is not legal advice.
Not at all.
This is personal opinions. If you think of either of us idiots as being lawyers or presenting you with legal, financial, or advice other than 3D printing advice, or 3D scanning advice, I guess, you've probably come to the wrong area. Lars Jensen, welcome to Basic Support. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. And yeah, I think the big update here in the TOS, which you can find under the bambulab.com/e. I'll post the freaking link. Grant, just post the damn link in the freaking comments, okay? There's the link. It states on 0.7.4, due to the importance of these updates, your product may block new print job before the updates is installed. It's like I told you all from the beginning. Yes, this is probably going to be an I told you so episode. Bambu has the ability to remotely control your printer, which includes the ability for it to block new print jobs. This is particularly a problem if you happen to run a print farm or you happen to have more than one or two machines, right? If you have one or two machines, you can probably find a way around this, right? Air gap it, LAN only, take it off network. Even LAN only still need Bambu. Bambu Connect. I don't know what we're calling it these days. Bambu Control, I think, is a much better one. Even on LAN only, you'll need it. And by the way, that program requires 600 megabytes of RAM. So you will have to close a few Chrome tabs. I'm sorry. And, oh yeah, you have to leave that persistent because if you close the program, it reissues a key. So that's
it's
fun.
not very efficiently made. Let's just say that.
And I don't think it was deliberately designed to be. So from an IT side of things, I wonder if this is like an admission of a 0 day, but I don't believe it is. People that I've discussed, like the people that were directly responsible for what enabled X1 Plus, which is a 3MF vulnerability on the X1 Carbon, where it would unpack anything with .3MF on it. If you gave it a file and if it was a .exe and you change it to .3MF, it would just run it. It didn't care. That was the original exploit. Huge issue, which Bambu apparently knew about. This one, nobody knows what this security update actually is. As John Olson said, it runs an Electron. So those of you that know electron programming or have ran an electron app before, you're probably just
Yeah.
screaming into the abyss right now. I'm sorry. Duff says to just slap a little Kills oil-based primer on that firmware. That's a great joke if you're in our Discord. If you're not in our Discord, Dino Nuggies. Which is even more of a bit of an odd one there. But yes, Bambu, according to their terms of service, 0.7.4, they can remotely stop your machine from accepting new jobs until you update the firmware.
Hmm.
I don't know about any of you, but it's my machine, and I'm going to do whatever the hell I want with it, and I'm not going to rely on a company to do this. But the problem is, you don't have a choice in this matter, which is not fun.
Yep. Any form of service that forces updates inherently breaks it for certain people. I mean, look at servers for the entire world. There is no way servers are being force updated because the entire world, once they're done on something, it's there. You don't change it. Part of the terms of service change, I think it's like 7.3 or 7.4, your printer will now force update itself.
Yep.
And that already is a red flag because that means they have basically unlimited access to your printer at that stage. They could change firmware, they could change config files, they could do whatever they need on their machines because they've basically turned around and said, you don't own your machine anymore, it's theirs. And that is its own discussion piece on its own.
So what's actually funny about all of this is a company doing this exact thing is what 5x'd our YouTube channel overnight. Now, that was when we had 50 subscribers to 250 subscribers, but it still 5x the channel overnight, and it was a whole rant that I did about Cricket doing this exact same thing, where they took an ownership and they converted it to a lease. Now, the way I see it, and from what we've seen inside of the actual program itself and some further things, there have been public dumps. You can go look for them. I'm not going to link to them because it's not my job. And quite frankly, the ones that we've discussed and worked with, they would like to remain anonymous. So you can go find public dumps. There's plenty of them so far. There is some hinting at enterprise grade software for this as well, which is a SaaS model. Okay? SaaS model. Which for enterprise, no big deal, right? I have multiple over $1,000 a year SaaS programs that I pay for, and I have no issues with it whatsoever because it provides me with value. But if you're taking something from a ownership agreement to a lease agreement, and now you're telling me what I can and can't do, you're not Ferrari. You can't just take a... Louis Rossman put it the best way I think I ever could. Like, who the hell are you, with a lot more cussing and middle fingers, basically. It's an uncomfortable situation as an end user because I don't know what's happening and I have a feeling as to what's going to happen, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
This whole locking you out of using Orca Slicer unless you use Bambu Control or Connect or whatever the hell they want to call it. That is the precursor, right? Forcing you to use a third-party application or another application that exacerbates this process, that makes it more complicated, to me is that, hey, you can still use the other firmware and software all you want, but we're gonna make it complicated so that you're, kind of forced to use ours, or you're gonna be heavily inconvenienced.
Yeah.
Right? When we look at the, like, trying to put this in words that are going to make sense.
I'm trying
Um,
to word things that aren't massively inflammatory. The problem is this entire conversation is just gasoline waiting to be lit. And it is maybe we just need to rip the band-aid off and just start talking about implications and what it means. Because the TLDR is it's not good. Like this entire scenario, if they started with this, it could have been fine. And bear in mind,
yeah.
actually, let's go back one step.
Well, if they had
To
started
anyone
with this,
that's
Orca
watching
Slicer
this,
wouldn't have ever existed. It wouldn't have been necessary. Orca Slicer existed, well, mainly because Super Slicer kind of fell behind. They forked it off of Bambu Studio, Prusa Slicer, and a little bit of Super Slicer. And that's where we get Soft Fever's Orca Slicer. And yes, I have, I think I did. Did I? Now I'm questioning if I did. I'm fairly certain I reached out to Soft Fever about being on the podcast. If I didn't, you should be on the podcast if you're watching. And if I did, you should also be on the podcast if you're watching. And Lewis Rossman, bud, we could have
that'll
some
be a
fun.
conversation
Well,
piece.
that's
That'll be
going to
fun.
need like 3 parental advisory notifications on that one. And you know, I think this is anti-consumer. At best,
Oh, massively.
it's anti-consumer. It
It's
begs the question why, right?
it
Because
is almost setting up for industrial grade Bambu Lab. And I do question if this is a prelude to their upcoming machine, which they've already openly said is going to be more expensive and bigger. If
I,
they are getting ready for an industrial pipeline and they're just saying everyone below, screw it, it doesn't matter. And I should say, let's preface it. Security updates, good. They could
we
have
love
done
them.
all of this
Yep.
with none of the issues that they've just implicated. Like they could have gone like, what is it, like OAuth 2, like the route of that, which is an open source authentication service. Like they didn't have to lock it down in a way that
Nope.
deletes the current ecosystem, because there's loads of print farms that are now affected. There's loads of individual users that are affected. There's bigger companies that buy Bambu Labs for early stage prototyping before they move over to their Mark Forged. Like this has affected a lot of systems. I mean, hell, universities in the UK they don't deal with their own software. They get their tech department to put it in, and that's it. They don't touch it. All of a sudden, most UK universities are really going to struggle using Bambu Lab printers, and most of them have Bambu Lab printers because, let's be frank, they're good equipment at a good price point, and they are kind of plug and play. Just try not to break them, because
When
if you
they
break them
work.
too badly, you can't fix them very easily. But that is a different conversation. Like there is ways Bambu Lab could have done this change without rocking the ground as much as they did. And the fact that they went along the way that they did with taking control away, putting in almost the ground for a SaaS-based model, with the little hints here and there with how they're changing things, it shows either a lack of care for consumers at best.
Yep.
Like, or at worst, it's malicious. And there's no easy way to say it. There are things behind the scenes that even we won't know about because they are doing stuff. They are a big company and they have probably a 5-year plan at this stage.
If not further. If not further.
Yeah.
Um Nadav, I was waiting for him. I knew he was going to comment something. He said, "You buy into a closed ecosystem and then you're yelling it's a closed ecosystem." But see, the slicer was never a closed ecosystem. The slicer was always an open ecosystem. It was always open source because they stole from Prusa. And before you yell at me and say, "Oh, they give credit after they were called out." Now, I don't know, and history will tell us how this part is going to age, but I don't know if this is the typical Bambu, where they hit you with an 11, they wait to see what pisses you off, and then they just reel it back just enough to make you feel as though you won, and you're now accepting of these new terms of service. I don't know the answer to that. Only time will tell. And when big content creators pick it up, I mean, LTT talked about it on the WAN show. Lewis Rossman did an entire video on it, which has hundreds of thousands of views already. And we have over 300 people watching live that I should remind to
300.
leave a like, get subscribe, enter to win some filament, all that fun stuff, right? Um, yeah, I I wonder if this is one of those plans where they're going to walk some of it back, but Bambu Connect is already out there. It's already been reverse engineered, and I'm not certain it was deliberately put out there with a lot of security, or very little security, I should say, to begin with. These are the questions that are still unanswered, right? Is this kind of like a red herring? And are we going to see some sort of walk back? I don't know. Oh man. Oh, look who
What?
just commented in the chat. It is Luke Harrison, Mr. Big Tree Tech over here. Said, "Boy, do I have some stories to tell." Luke, what are you doing next week? Same time, same place. You want to tell some stories, homie? I'll give you the platform to do it. Or, when we're done, just buzz me on WhatsApp. You got my number. Yeah. By the way, it's gonna completely brick the Panda Touch series. And see,
Yep.
freaking this was so smart from Big Tree Tech and BQ, where they made the Panda Touch possible to flash with the Clipper firmware, so you can just turn it into a Clipper touchscreen if Panda was ever to go down. And, well, Panda. Wait, my volume's gone.
I can hear you. Is YouTube
Uh,
working?
no? Oh, okay. Oh. Apparently, well, oh well. Also, who the hell is Paragon Fuzz? Who said who wants some stories about Jacob? Is that your father?
I think that might be one of my close friends.
Oh, okay.
I am checking. It is. I've been getting messages in my muted Discord with pictures of him pointing at screen with my face.
Ah, ah, ah. Yes. And as Harsman says, don't forget we keep these live streams free to viewers like you. Without your support, a major stream like this would be riddled with ads. If you can, please donate to help keep this free. Yeah, completely ad-free stream while it's live. So, you're welcome. Help a brother out. It's hard out here for a YouTuber. But yes, yeah, if you bought into, so let's say you have the P series of printers from Bambu, and you have the Panda Touch, or you're using the X1 series and you're using a Panda Touch to control multiple machines. That's like one of the awesome things about the Panda. It can control multiple machines. And if you're running a print farm and all of a sudden your machine's auto-updated, because the X1s will auto-update if you didn't turn that off, you better be careful. Turn off auto-updates. For Christ's sake, turn off auto-updates.
That should just be a general life thing.
It
No device
really
needs
should
auto
be.
updates. If it didn't work in the first place, then update it. But
Yep.
in reality, check what the updates are before you just assume they're going to fix things. Because more likely than not, an update will come out, it'll brick something. And that's just by accident. That's not even like a malicious thing. That's just how many times have you updated Windows and all of a sudden a microphone stops working or a camera stops working? It's more common than most people want to know.
Yeah, Chris. Chris gets on me for never updating things. But yeah, I would be proper pissed if I ran a print farm of Bambus. I was I was utilizing Panda Touches because they are really nice. I have a Panda Touch. Big Tree Tech sent one over a while back. I hooked it all
They're
up.
massively useful.
They're crazy useful. Even on the
Yeah.
X1, I can remotely control it from my desk without having to connect to internet, which is super cool. I dig that. But it's also why I told you, again, that you should not use Bambus in a business class environment, because there's controls here that are implemented that they haven't utilized yet, and now we're starting to see that occur here, right? As John Olson says, the auto update discussion is a tough one. There are a lot of IoT devices out there with poor security that no one will ever update manually, and that's totally fair, right? If you're using something all the time, read through the security updates before you update it. Like OBS currently has an update. I'm on 30.2.3 and 31.0.1 is out. I did an update before the podcast. I'll update after the podcast because I'm not going to break things before the show. I'll break things after the show when I have time to like deal with it. But this whole idea of we can remotely stop your machine from functioning if you refuse to do the updates is really scary. And Nick T said some things don't give a change log. Then don't update. Straight up. Like if they're not going to tell you what they're changing, then I'm leaving it. If it works totally fine the way it is, I'm leaving it. But yeah, I'm not happy with how Bambu is basically taking their ball and going home, but for really no reason. Right? There doesn't seem to be a reason here. And it appears that they're hiding it behind the guise of I'm trying to think of like the right way to put this. Like they're hiding it behind a security update, but it's really a command and control update. Yeah. That's like, what it feels
there
like.
would have been alternative ways to do security.
Oh yeah.
In reality, what you could probably gauge from the way that they've worded things is there were holes in their security previously, which probably might have been there just from oversight or even intent. Like building printers is hard, but adding a security like this is not normal to start with. Like even like the amount of data logging they did previously was not normal. It was well above anything that is actually usable and is probably more along the lines of they are data harvesting everything for future AI based sellable service software. But even then, like the amount of loss of control on this shows there's something deep, and that it's just really hard to like work like the business sense around, where no matter how you cut the changes they've done and the way they've done it, somebody must have sat around a table going, this is going to inflame a lot of people. And that's where it starts to break apart. Like if you even look into the past now, where they've said, oh, we've increased service on the camera. Well, saying they've increased service on the camera actually meant the camera wasn't secure in the first place. So they hid that from you, and they probably knew that, which is why they've done this. They've increased authentication, meaning there was probably an exploit to get into your machine in advance, which they were probably doing on their own. And now if that leaked to say, let's make up a fake government agency where they just want to control your machines for national security. Well, if
the Department of Government Oversight. Yes.
There we go. Yeah. Like if they
the doggo. Or dogo, excuse me. The Department of Government Great Oversight, it's doggo.
Yeah, there we go. But no, like if as a company, let's say I am Bambu Lab and I am doing things in a way that gives me this control over users' machines, I will leave that in because it's good for me. I won't tell anyone because it's good for me that nobody knows and that I have this. Let's say we are an American agency. I found somebody literally printing explosives. Mm-hmm. I can go around and go, actually, I'm just going to make your printer fail more often. And it's just going to be like a very soft intervention. I don't need to rock the boat. That's good. But then the moment other people find out that, oh, there is this availability and then other actors can start doing it, let's say it's a foreign government now doing it against you, that's when you would start to patch things and you go public like, hey, we've increased security, we've locked it down, there's no worries about anything. The holes were there in the first place, they just never said anything. And as they designed it, they knew that this was here because they designed it. They knew what the program was behind the scenes, so they knew you could just hook into a local IP address and gain access to the camera. They were probably doing that intentionally, but then publicly saying it does the opposite. Like, good, they've made a public thing, security better. Bad, they've just admitted that there was this in the first place. And that is something that not a lot of people are going to see because they read the words, and this is between the words. So it does make me less comfortable with the hardware as a whole, just because they're admitting things that shouldn't have been admitted through inadmission, and that doesn't sit well. I own a Bambu Lab. I should say that
Yep,
as a bit of a disclaimer. I own one. I've
I got
even
one
bought
too.
my friends some. Like they are good machines. I personally put something over the lens. I have them air gapped because I already was
I just
data tracking
unplugged
them.
the camera. I just unplugged the camera.
I left the camera in because I wanted to see if it was sending erroneous camera data when it wasn't printing. So far I never saw that, but I wanted to know because I like to just like inquisitively see how machines work. It's part of how I learn as a developer is buy somebody else's machine, strip it, see if they did anything that you can learn from. Most of the time, you already know the techniques and you choose the right one for you. But then every now and again, you do find something that's really unique that you can go, oh, I like that. So that's a bit of background of me. I do own the machines. Um, but yeah, like I would be more worried about what they didn't say than what they have just said.
And for reference, every manufacturer does this, right?
Oh yeah.
I have been in more than my fair share of manufacturers of not just 3D printers but other stuff too. They all have competitor machines in there. So don't just think that, this is all construct. No, it's fine. I do want to address something because we did get Luke's TLDR. And
Oh,
so
go on.
I'm going to read it verbatim and then we're going to discuss it here. Luke from Big Tree Tech, operating personally, I'm going to assume not operating on a professional level or anything, said there's no current security vulnerability. It uses authenticated and encrypted MQTT messaging, which requires username, password, and 2FA by default. Currently, users have the choice of which apps, services, and devices they use. After the update, users will lose that choice. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the problem. This is all, it is personally. Okay, he did say personally. It is all about control. If Bambu can keep you within there, and this is now Grant talking, Luke is no longer talking. Luke stopped talking after I finished that statement. It is all about control. This is about keeping you inside of the Bambu ecosystem, operating with Bambu software, Bambu firmware, Bambu everything, and they can, and according to their actual terms of service, will stop you from sending new print jobs until you install updates. That is a huge problem. All of a sudden, your car, I'm gonna use my car because my car is 22 years old and doesn't have any of the new fancy features that all the modern cars have. Okay, my car, 22 years old, is saying, yeah, until you give me a new computer or until you download this update, we're not going to drive. And even though my car didn't start the other day, couple of tappy tap taps on the starter solenoid, she was perfect. No problems at all. Love that car. Love that car. You're a good car. You shouldn't fail on me. Anyways, like that's the level that we're at. Something that you've owned all of a sudden has more control over you than you have over it. And like, brother, that's a problem. I don't care who you are. That's a problem. Like you shouldn't, and if you voluntarily want to convert ownership into a lease program and you see benefit in that, like where you utilize a SaaS program to make the machine better for farm use, do it. But you're voluntarily making that that
Hmm.
change. You're not having your knees cut out from under you for the sole purpose of security updates. It's not about security. It's about control. It has always been about
Hmm.
control. I can't validate 100% if it is about data collection, but it feels like it is. Okay? I am more than 50% confident that this is about control.
Yep.
Really, I'm more than 90% confident it's about control. I'm more than 50% confident that it's about data collection. Because it is, in this world, the most valuable thing that you have as a user is not your wallet, it's your data. It's all about your data, right? It's the same way that TikTok went dark the day before they had to. In fact, they went dark last night, 10:30
Yep.
p.m. last night on the 18th. TikTok went dark. They're getting banned technically on the 20th if they don't sell. This is all a ruse. It's all a ruse. What's going to happen is that likely the incoming president and their administration is going to extend TikTok's ability to do business in the United States for another 90 days until they can figure out what to do. And he's going to be seen as the great redeemer, right? This is TikTok giving the administration a chance to do all of this, right?
It's literally the playbook of incoming presidency is do good for everyone, even though it was planned from the start. And it kind of feels the same in this case.
And remember, this is a base that the Republican Party has statistically not had a lot of good reach in. Like, the Republican Party does not normally do well with the younger generations. Just statistically speaking, they don't. This is not me expressing political views one way or the other. This is statistics. But when, you just took away something that Gen Z values heavily, TikTok, and the new administration brings it back, well, hey, Uncle Trump is in. We like this guy now.
He saved TikTok.
He
Why
saved
wouldn't we
TikTok.
love him?
Right. And so that is about controlling narratives. This is about controlling your machine and what you do with it.
It opens up so many holes and possibilities that are just bad for the consumer. Like, it's a change of the fundamentals of what 3D printers have been so far, which is, for the most part, you buy your machine, it is your machine.
Yep.
This is now starting to set a precedent of, just like how video games have gone more service model, just like everything has gone more service model, the end goal of capitalism is to sell you the same thing multiple times without you realizing it. Previously, obviously, I make machines. I sell one machine, my money ends there. Like, the machine left my door, that's it. Like, we don't really earn money on repairs because we don't agree with that.
Wait a minute.
The money should be made on the machine.
You're not going to force users later on into a hardware as a service agreement, even though they've already paid you to own the machine?
I know, because I hate money.
Wow, how anti-business of you. You should follow in the footsteps of Bambu and force users to use programs that you yourself built.
Yep. But that's the thing that would earn ungodly amounts of money. If I can sell a machine,
oh God, yes,
and then sell a service package, that is also the subscription for most machinery in the industry just generally, is service packages.
Yep.
It's why most people don't care what the price of the machine is at the start. They just care what the price of the service package is.
Yep.
But it's the same thing here.
I will give you a real example because I have the machine and I don't pay it anymore, but I used to pay the service contract. A $69,000 nice $500 machine, empty. $86,000 delivered with enough materials to let it run. Okay. This is a 3D Systems ProJet 660 Pro. It is a full color sandstone 3D printer. At the height of what I've done in my career, I ran 5 of them myself with no other assistance. Okay. Those machines had a $9,000 a year service contract. So more than 10% of the cost of the machine you were paying every year. Now, that service contract was $4,500 for parts, $4,500 for labor. You could remove the labor and just get the parts warranty, where they would just send you parts for free when you would have problems. But what I found out, even paying the $9,000, is that they would have like a 3-week lead time to come out and get to you. For a $70,000 machine, it would take them 3 weeks to come and get it fixed. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I learned how
Yep.
to service the machines myself. Then when I learned how to service them myself, I realized, wait a minute, I'm spending less than $4,500 a year in parts. F it. So I went, no warranty. I am the warranty. And started repairing the machines myself at an average cost about $1,500 a year.
And it's
Right?
sad to say you are the minority in this. Like
Oh
most
yeah,
businesses
absolutely.
will not do that. They won't
Because
risk it.
they need the line item in their books that
Yep.
guarantee. And when you look at like Stratasys with their Fortis line, okay, their big Fortis 450 and 900s, you can get a $40,000 a year maintenance package on those. $40,000 on a $250,000 machine. Like that is insane levels of money. But that includes a 48-hour guarantee of service. And I'm sorry, when you're a big business and being down for a day is measured in tens of thousands of dollars, yep, you're going to pay that money. You're going to pay that money every single time because you need to guarantee that your machines can operate, right? I was running the plus 4 earlier and it died. I don't know why. The hot end no longer heats and it goes into thermal runaway protection, right? Doesn't heat anymore. Why? Great question. It has less than a day worth of print time on it. Hot end is dead. Well, I think the machine came with a spare hot end. Don't know where I put it. So it's down until I can get parts. That's a problem, right?
Yep.
And I never expected to run that machine for anything more than fun, especially because it, mildly dangerous. But yeah, there's this weird issue of ownership, service, and what that looks like in the long run.
I mean, I can put it in perspective on my side. I own two Ooze Nest CNCs. They are hobbyist grade CNCs that I just like to potter around with. They're basically an open frame
I
V
didn't see
slot
those.
wheeled. They're in the garage.
Oh,
You
okay.
never went in the garage. I've got a big 1.5 meter and a 800 mil one. Like
Like I had
the
dinner
entire
in your
garage is there.
house. I didn't see that.
You were literally 2 meters away from them at
Oh,
some
damn it.
points. Yeah, I have just two C. Oh, you would have loved the bed. I've got like a perfect acetal spoil board, all of them tapped and threaded. So every 1 centimeter there is a M6 bolt and then an M6
Is
smooth
it at
hole.
least 2 meters long?
1.56 by 1.56, but
Okay.
open-ended on both sides, so you can put full sheets in and then just move them along.
Well, I was just thinking if I put a pillow in there for Amber, she could have slept on that. I'm too tall. I wouldn't have fit on that.
It's cold. It's a garage in the UK in winter. No. But so, for example, two hobbyist grade CNC machines, they cost sub £2,000 each. I think they were like almost sub £1,000 each.
Mm-hmm.
At one point last year, for about 24 hours, each machine was producing £7.50 every 1 minute and 20 seconds. And that was just one piece of wood in, flip it over, one piece of wood out, £7.50. Over and over and over again. It's why CNC operators get paid a lot. But for industrial use, imagine that times 100.
Yep.
Like, if your machines aren't earning an hour's worth of wage in like 30 seconds, then they are not profitable to most people.
Yep.
And that's where these service plans come in, because at the end of the day, the service plan keeps those machines earning money, and having 30 minutes of downtime can be a week's of money. And that is where capitalism wants it to be, because then you can buy a service plan, they can sell you nothing, and they still earn money.
Yep.
And the height of that is literally, I don't have to give you anything but the promise. And if we make our machines good, we're not giving you anything, because then they don't break, but you're still going to pay us for the luxury of knowing it still works. And that's kind of what we're getting into with
It's
additive now.
guaranteed
Like,
revenue.
especially with this, it's setting the bedrock for Bambu Lab machines to have a service plan. And bear in mind, service plan is really just a subscription. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's a subscription with a bit of hardware attached if something happens.
It's a subscription with extra steps.
Yeah, it's just so you don't have to say the word subscription, because
Yeah.
nobody likes that term anymore.
No, they don't.
And especially in industry, you say subscription, they go, I don't want that, I want to own it. So they just change the name. They go, I own it. You don't. Look at any university that owns a Stratasys machine. That they're now end of life, so there's no maintenance for them. They still got them. They can't get rid of them because they own it. They don't use them because they don't work, because they don't own it, because they don't have the subscription for it. So like service plan.
Service
But that's what we're getting
plans.
into. And it's setting a dangerous precedent for the consumer level to start having service plans and subscriptions. And that's where it starts getting really muddled, because I don't think it's sustainable to start with.
Yep,
And I
it's
don't
not.
agree with it.
It's not.
I mean, it breaches a load of the goodwill the community has. Now, I should say, everyone in this chat is probably advanced users. You wouldn't be here if you weren't
No.
turned on about additive in the first place. But the most of this won't affect you guys. It will affect the mom and pop down the road that don't go on YouTube. They just like printing things from I can never remember what the Bamboo version of printables is.
Oh, green printables. I mean, Maker World.
Yeah, Make-A-World, that's it. Literally just printables but green. Like it's only going to affect them. It's like how oh, it was like LTT did a podcast just for a couple of seconds and they talked about it in their one show where Linus's kids are on the machine. Like they're not doing heavy CNC work. They're probably not Googling how to make a Voron. They're just doing
No.
fun things with the machine that you click a button and something pops out, and then you get to have your fun with it. This is going to affect them so much worse than it's going to affect us, even though we are the ones being vocal about it, because they aren't aware of it. And they're going to say, yes, of course I want an update, because on the touch screens, they're just going to say new update available. They're not going to tell you what you're signing away. And then you're putting your machine now in a position where you've basically given it back to the company, and they can turn around at any point going, you know what, we've changed how we're doing things. You owe us more money now. You've done this. Or even worse, like, now this is Jacob rant time. It's not Grant rant, it's Jacob rant.
That doesn't
I
have the
bet
same
you
flow, though.
it
It really
doesn't.
doesn't.
We need to
Sorry.
find one.
Yeah,
We need
like
to
a
find one.
Jacob jaunt. I don't. It's just
I don't
it's
know,
not the
because a
same.
jaunt is a good thing.
Look, if you're in the U.S., I'll give you a roll of filament for the first person to give me like a really good name for a Jacob rant, because it needs to be better than a
It needs
Jacob
to be
rant.
good.
And if you're not in the U.S., I'll send you a shirt whenever the hell we get that figured out. So comment away.
You have two
Uh,
words to play with, Jacob and Lord. So you got some things to play with.
that's
So
fair.
have
Well,
fun
you're
with that.
you're always my lord to me.
Oh,
I should change your name to my lord.
oh, it's so good. But no, like, where was I? Oh God, you completely thrown me now.
Well, too bad.
Jacob runs over now. Jacob runs over because I can't remember it. I'll remember it in a little bit, eventually.
Ooh, a lord lecture. We got the
Ooh,
Jacob
oh,
Jabber. The Jake break. No, that's a thing that diesel trucks use. The Lord report.
I like Lord Lecture at the moment. I do like to lecture
You
as
like the
much as
Lord
people hate
lecture?
me doing it. I like that, a Lord
Yeah,
Lecture.
Lord lecture. Hmm.
Oh,
You were going on about oh, I hope I'm right about service contracts and all that.
yeah. It's gone. The train of thought is gone, but we
Okay,
now
fine.
have a name,
All right.
Lord Lecture.
I got it. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna thank some
Or
people. So
somebody in the chat, if you remember what I was talking about, post it, and then I'll
yeah,
keep
yeah.
talking
Chat.
about it.
Remind us what the hell we were talking about.
Because I was about to pop off. You were the
Allison
laugher.
with the pound 99, which is like $8.20 US with the conversion rate or something, probably. Phoenix with the $1.99 said canceled a P1S order. Thoughts on the Core One? I like it. I got to get one in hand and play around with it. I've had some chance to sit down with the lead project manager for the Core One. You'll see a video on that coming soon. He didn't want to be on camera, so we got somebody else on camera. Won't tell you who, but it is a really fun video, and I think you guys are gonna like it. Yep.
I remembered what I was talking
Yep.
about.
Okay.
It
He's
was
got it.
literally what could happen with this. So I bet you in 1 year's time, like when AI is better, bear in mind we're getting awfully close to being better already. We already have text to 3D. Like that is a thing. You put in I want house, house appears in a 3D model, you can take that to a printer and print it. There's nothing wrong with that. But it can work the other way. You can go 3D to text.
Mhm.
And the moment you go 3D to text, you can now add DRM into your machines based on not even the models you download. The models you make can now be policed. Because if they go, oh, that's a gun, it doesn't have to. It could just miscategorized. But if they go 3D model to text and it goes, it's this, or it looks like this, and they go, we don't agree with that in our terms and conditions because we updated them arbitrarily, like they've just done now, they could block it. And I kind of expect that to happen in the future anyway. Like if this becomes a normal thing, I know I, as a company, if I was selling a product to kids, I would have some form of safety thing that meant they can't print sex toys to military equipment. Like you wouldn't want your kids being available to that, so everyone wouldn't complain. But the system that allows that can be used very maliciously. Like how I could turn it into a subscription. You can buy the ability not to get your things policed. And that
Oh
is
man,
very
reverse
possible.
SaaS. Like, yeah, you can buy security. Oh my god, that's the most. Are you sure you're not American?
Well,
That's
I
the
do
most
like
American thing
the
I've ever heard you
cyberpunk
say.
lifestyle.
That's the most American thing. You will pay for security. You get no security to start with. You will pay for security. New Model Workshop says military sex toys. Now there's an interesting genre. I mean, I'm
If
just
there's money in
saying
it,
bullets and missiles have a certain shape, okay? I'm just saying, you
they
know,
are designed to go into you.
or through, you know, just it's a penetration game, if you will.
Oh yes. Well, I bet you in the future we will see that eventually. And this is like the first stone along the path
Yeah.
that allows them to do that. I mean, in theory, they could do this next week. Like, it wouldn't be very good because the technology isn't very good at the moment. But there is nothing stopping me from taking a 3D model I've made on like Fusion, going to text to 3D and doing a reverse generation from it.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it in and it goes, I think it's this. And if I wanted to, I could put a single line of code that say these are banned words. If the model includes a word like this, once it's been translated, block it
Yep.
because maybe this country doesn't like that thing. And then that's a thing. Like that shouldn't be allowed. Tools are tools. You should be able to do what you want with them. It doesn't matter if you want to do illicit stuff or just accidentally illicit stuff. It's your tool. Like a hammer is a hammer. You don't need to sign documentation to buy a hammer. A printer is the same. A lathe is the same. A mill is the same. You can make a lot of things on them. I mean, I could walk into a supermarket with a hammer and do some very bad things. That doesn't mean that at the moment I buy a hammer, I should be on a watch list. And it also means the moment I buy a printer, everything I make needs to have like Big Brother looking over saying, one warning right there, two warnings, you got to pay to unlock your machine again. Like things like that shouldn't be incentivized. And at
No,
the moment, if this
they kind of are.
isn't spoken about too loud, it is. It is. And it's getting really scary. And I do worry for consumers where they aren't trained to see dark patterns. These patterns will keep cropping up because they're profitable.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, you might not value your data. You might not value a lot of things you do, but
Somebody else
the
does.
the moment somebody else thinks they can profit from it, they will do that.
And to be fair, those of you that say that you don't value your data, I bet the windows in your car are tinted. I bet you keep your blinds down in your house at night. I bet the window in your bathroom is either frosted or perpetually covered by some sort of, window covering. So you do care. You just don't realize that you care. Because what you've done is you've been, well, there's no better way. You've been brainwashed to believe that your personal data has no value at all. You've been brainwashed to believe this. And because you get some value out of something, your data to you is a fair trade as far as you're concerned, right? A equivalent exchange, if you will.
Mm.
But
Nathan in the
it's
chat brings up something really good, which is no printing Winnie the Pooh. Now, I forgot something as I am talking to you.
Jesus.
This is an American-based podcast. You have freedom of speech. Not every country has
Ish.
that, and Bamboo Lab works in a lot of other countries. It it wouldn't be inforeseeable that a foreign country that isn't the US has just a statement of, we don't like this, make sure this is there. I can't remember which one did it recently, where they've just like banned a load of like TV shows because they just don't like that type of content. But other countries that aren't the US would be more likely to be affected by this worse. And that is, again, not a good thing. Like the moment where a government can now start controlling what you do because there's the groundwork for that, they will, because they've been doing it in the past. And it's just being aware that other countries work differently sets even more of a tone. Like let's ignore the US. Let's say this is Bambu Lab for China only. They could just outright say, no, we don't like this. This print is political speech of a type we don't like. That's where it starts to become very intrusive. And I don't agree with it. It's kind of dangerous. It's really worrisome that we're seeing these steps and nothing's really going to happen. And I bet you nothing's going to happen to this. They might walk back a thing or two, but they've set the groundwork. And another company will try to do the same, or they'll start with the same. And because it's there from the start, nobody's going to complain.
I don't
It's
think
that
anybody
whole
else like Bambu and Purusha are pretty much the only two companies that have enough vertical integration to get this far, right? Creality, FlashForge, Anycubic, they just skin Orca Slicer and they call it a day, right? As Ferrell says, that's censorship. Yes, it is. It's yes,
yeah.
it is. Oh, it's like capitalistic censorship, you know. That's what it ends up being. Do you want to thank Swiss 3DC? You gave us $2, and Chris Cosser, sure, $5. Thank you very much. I saw Swiss 3DC had put a comment, but it's buried, and so I'm not gonna find it. Sorry. So Swiss 3DC, if you guys want to throw it back in again, that'd be great. Cause yeah, there's over. Oh wait, there's 469. Nice people
Nice.
watching, 145 likes. That ratio I'm not a huge fan of. But we can figure it out. We can get there. We can get there. Um, Maurice says Bambu needs to do a grant gesture after this beep show. What? I am so confused as to what that means. So photo said photo says, so you're saying that they can see what you print, making it possible to act on a printer to printer base. That was all a theoretical discussion of what could happen.
Yeah.
Can Bambu see what you print? I'm going to put this in very easy terms for people to understand. A cloud is nothing but somebody else's computer. If you are using Bambu's cloud system, you should assume that everything that you are pushing through their cloud service from your machine to their machine, assuming it's not in LAN only mode, is going to be stored on a cloud server. Do not, under any certain terms, any terms, upload NDA, ITAR. If it could get you sued or in prison for uploading it to a cloud server, don't do that. Don't be stupid. Remember, if you're going to be doing that kind of stuff, no, you aren't. Think about it. Think
I
about
mean, it's true. It's like it's literally the don't YouTube your crimes.
it. Yeah, don't YouTube your crimes. Don't be
Just don't do it.
stupid. Like, I feel like this should be an obvious thing. Don't do crimes in a way that makes it obvious that you're doing crimes. But no, they don't. So Martin said, okay, so disable auto update, use LAN only mode. Yeah, that doesn't matter. See, because again, 7.4 in their brand new TOS states, due to the importance of these updates, your product may block new print jobs before the update is installed.
Yeah.
So a couple of things you need to know about Bambu Connect. It uses an authentication key system that every time you close the software, So every time you close Bambu Connect, it generates a new authentication key. Okay, every time you close it, it generates a new key. Your printer says, oh, cool, that's the key now. Great, we're updated. The key that the software has generated initially, the one that people have found, expires December 12th of 2025. So if you decide to use Bambu Connect in an air-gapped environment, fully air-gapped, right? The only connection is to the machine itself, right? It will stop working December 13th of 2025.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really bad.
Yep. And
That
so at that date, you will then have to reconnect the computer to the network, reconnect your printer to the network, and get them to assign a new key. Hopefully by then you can pull the new key, and they haven't obfuscated that one as well. And then you can do it again for another year. The keys are only good for 1 year. The current key that is in there was generated December 11th, 2024, so it expires December 12th of 2025. There you go. That is information I'm going to prove and show you guys in the Friday episode, but that is real. It's a problem, and there's no way around it currently. Now, will Bambu stop you immediately if you turn off auto updates? We don't know. We do not know how long a machine that is off of auto updates will be able to last in the ecosystem. Now, the cool thing is if you've turned off auto updates and it's offline, right? Technically, and you're running Orca Slicer, as long as you never update your machine, Orca should be happy with it. I
yeah.
don't exactly know for sure, but Orca should be happy with it. And as Mr. Catlett points out, says 1 year certificate revocation is the norm for certificates these days. Totally agree, but it's something that people need to know, because if they're like, oh, well, I'll just use this, in an air gap environment indefinitely. No, you won't. You won't.
So there's another important thing about that. They're changing the terms of service.
Yes, they
And
did
that
change the terms of
is
service, period.
not as in like the written stuff, but the actual product sell. That is something that now has to be advertised, that you have a mandatory 1 year rolling cutoff point, if you want to say it that
I
way.
don't think they have to advertise that it's a mandatory 1 year roll, but
They do in the EU. If your product
Oh.
locks down after so long period of time without being connected to a network, and they never advertise that, that goes against the Consumer Rights Act, and that is quite a big misstep. Will they get away with it? Probably, because nobody cares. Like these type of
We need
entities
someone
where they're
in the UK and the EU to stand up and say no. And unfortunately, that can't be you. Right? That
no.
can't be you because of your affiliation with your company. Because
Yep.
people are going to see it, and Bambu is going to see it, as you attacking them. We need
Yep.
consumers, real world consumers in the UK and the EU to stand up and say, I didn't agree to this shit. You can't do this to us. You can't just change this and then let the laws hopefully do their job.
Yeah, consumer protection in the EU is very strong. The downside is it's expensive. And because of that, if you find a problem, the easiest solution for banks, because it mostly falls on the banking side instead of like the legal EU side, is they will just refund you. And the bank will charge back Bambu Lab, and that ends. And you don't really get any more protections after that. They've done their job. They've solved it for you, and it's cheaper to solve it for the individual than it is to solve it on the corporate scale. But it's a bad precedent. Like they are breaking consumer right protection by locking down machinery.
Yep.
If it was never advertised in the first place that there was mandatory updates, you have to ask an EU citizen that owns a printer, hey, we're changing it. Do you agree to these new terms? It's why anyone in the EU gets 5 million emails a year about, we have updated our GDPR rules. Do you agree with them? We've updated our terms of service. Do you agree with them? It's like, hell, yesterday I got an Apple update for Apple Music. I couldn't listen to anything in the car for an hour because I couldn't open my phone to just click, I agree to the new terms.
Which you probably
That's
didn't read.
required. No, of course I didn't read it. It's
But see, that's what they're
nobody
banking
reads
on. They're
it.
banking on you're not going to read
But
this new
we have a button
TOS.
to click. We have to click the button before we can download it. And that is where it goes wrong because they're not letting you click the button. They're just giving you the standard, here is a new update. That's
Mm.
the malicious side. Now, if there was an email, I have not received an email. It might have hit my spam for devil's advocate,
I
but
haven't received a damn
there's been
thing.
no email at minimum
Yeah.
saying, hey, we have no, we've updated our terms of service. Do you agree to these? Yes or no? Or even at minimum, we've updated. We don't even have to have the you agree to these. It's an implied agreement unless you ask otherwise. You can do that. They didn't do that. And that is where you can start poking the holes in their, oh, we're innocent type vibe, is they're not following the law. And that's where it kind of breaks apart. Like,
Now
it's not good.
I've tried looking at this with Hanlon's Razor. Also, Thomas, 5 memberships gifted. Thank you. F got one. Picobo got one. John Stern got one. Marcel got one. And Yuri, yep, probably got that one wrong, but got one as well. Picobo says, and shitification is real. Yeah. I tried looking at this with Hanlon's Razor. For those that don't know Hanlon's Razor, it is do not attribute to malice what can easily be explained by, I think it's stupidity is specifically what it says, but it could be incompetence. I tried looking at this with Hanlon's Razor, and too many like red flags are just going off in my head of this isn't stupidity. And if it is, my God, there's a lot. Like, you can't
This must
be,
have passed through so
yeah,
many
you
levels to
can't
happen.
be this stupid. You can't. And TrueTech says reverse engineer the firmware, then issue an override. Dude, that is way more complicated than you think.
Yep.
Bambu is encrypting everything. And you might say, well, Grant, that's good. I want encryption. Fine. I'm not going to disagree with you on this. I too want encryption. But security for a slicer to a printer is, as long as it's not on a cloud server, is my responsibility, not theirs. If I want fully open communication, then I'm going to do it. It is my responsibility to have a strong home network, a strong business network. It is not their responsibility to force encryption on me. See, the problem is that encryption, you can hide whatever the hell you want. The same thing that we found with the log files. When we got a decrypted log file and I got root access to my machine and we showed you the real log files, a fair bit of the viewers like, this is a nothing burger, because you
It's not.
dumbasses didn't watch all the way through the video. The problematic stuff was in the back half of the video. I showed you everything so you couldn't yell at me for picking and choosing things, but clearly I should have picked and chose things because you didn't watch all the way through, right? Yes, those log files only get sent when you tell them to send, but you never knew what was in them. You didn't know what was being sent under the guise of security. Why Bambu needs pictures of your machine when it's not printing is beyond me. Why Bambu needs humidity and temperature details when the machine is not running to be logged is beyond me. Now, I'm sure that's just because they forgot to turn it off when the machine isn't running, but they never changed it. So if it was brought to their attention and they didn't change it, there's a reason for it. It's data collection, allegedly. Right? I'm not malicious. I want them to succeed. If any of you haven't noticed, this industry is going through an absolute renaissance era. We have seen machines go from the Mark III, arguably a great machine for its time, that has no appreciable changes in 6 years, to you can go buy a FlashForge AD5M that is a poverty P1P. I'm not wrong. I'm going to call it how I see him.
It
For
is.
$300. And the AD5X, which FlashForge continues to delay because they're making it better or making it more reliable, is becoming a more viable option to me every single day of the week.
Back in my day, a £300 printer was a fire hazard. And now we can basically get industrial grade printing for
Back in my day, we didn't
basically
have
a day and
$300
a half of thing.
printers.
Exactly. Like you either got a bomb that could melt some plastic, or spent loads of money. And now
Yeah.
you can get industrial grade printing quality from non-industrial grade printing. And I will argue, because most of my industrial grade
Prosumer
people I
grade.
work with only still print PLA on their £1 million machines.
That's fair. Yes, I know a lot of people that have,
You know it. There you go.
yep. That's fair. That's fair. They do that. Yeah, they do.
But yeah, it's the quality of machines has gone up massively.
And
And it just brings it into perspective a bit.
it's funny how now all of a sudden people are like, why don't we just swap the motherboard? Oh, buddy, a Bambu machine is so connected. Every single thing on the X1 Carbon has its own dedicated processing. So, like, the tool head has a processor. The AP board has a processor. There's the main MCU processor. There are so many individual... You would have to replace every electronic component on that machine for it to work. Right? You would have to. And at that point, go build a Voron. You'll get a better machine for less money and less labor at the end of the day.
And you can repair it.
And you can repair it, right? It's not going to take you 4 hours to replace an effing pulley. God. Like, I can replace a pulley on a 6-year-old Mark III's in 5 minutes or less. It's probably 5 minutes because it's going to take me a while to figure out which way to get the bolt out. And yes, Chris Catlett just posted the link to it. So if you do want to see, Chaz Lade is working on that, and we will be reaching out to Chaz to get him on the podcast here relatively soon. BLD Designs with the 5 memberships. We got Ronnie got one, Bill got one, Saxophone Guy got one, Paul Stevenson got one as well. Thank you for the gifted memberships. Helps keep the channel alive. Thank you. 492 people. Can we hit 500? Let's be the largest live stream that we've ever had if we can hit 500 viewers.
I'm going to be able to lord over that to you. Oh, Lord.
Oh, yeah. We got to get the name for that. We got to get the name for that. But before we go back on topic, I got to scroll up.
We've got a strong contender for Lord Lecture, but it's kind of nice.
Yeah, the Lord Lecture is pretty good. The Lord Report.
So while you're looking for that, I will say John L in the chat said that Bambu Lab have killed their customers. I don't think so. Their business customers, this is.
No.
I think they've actually just made business customers with this. Yep. Because while your print service at the moment that uses Bambu Labs, or your small mom and pop with 30 printers, it's affected them. But in their eyes, screw them. Because what they've just done is they've now set a business practice for bigger industry. They can now come out with any price of machine, sell a plan, sell a service, and they will earn 500 times that money for free. And nobody will care, because the only people that are salty are the people that got into it now, and they realize we're not the money anymore. Like, if they can sell the same machine over and over and over again, they will do that. Hell, if you could sell the same apple to somebody to eat, and it's just the same one that you just keep giving them, you're not losing money, you're just earning free money. And as long as they can afford it, they will keep doing it because they need to keep eating. And that is what industrial grade printing is at the moment, and from the looks of it, soon to be consumer grade. It's a very slippery slope that is very easy to happen, because they could just do it. They could do it tomorrow after this. Like, there's nothing stopping them. Like, they could literally open up with the, hey, you like your camera with the Bambu Handy app so you can monitor it when you're out? £2 a month. And I'm being nice. Like, they'll be more than that. Everything's like $4.99 or $7.99 or something much higher, because people just have disposable income nowadays, even if they don't. They could just do it. Like, oh, you want this feature that was already there that you had previously? Nah, it's locked now because we changed our business plan.
Yep.
And you kind of signed it away if you update your machine. Yeah.
So what they're going to do, they're going to kill some of their business customers, but it's the business customers that don't know how to run a business. I'm going to be straight on this one, right?
I'd agree.
They're not going to hurt the real business customers, because the real business customers aren't using Bambu. Right? Anyone that is running a real 3D printing business should not be running Bambu. at all. Like, if you're dealing with customer data, you should not be running Bambu, period. Like, straight up, period. But it's these people that run Etsy stores with a bunch of P1Ss that are making, like, at best $1 an hour profit on their machines. It's a kick to the balls, man. It is. There is no, there's no other way to do it. Right? It's just the way that it is. They're going to end up with so much labor. Or they're going to risk at some point Daddy Bambu pulling the plug and basically losing everything. Right? Like, I want to be clear here. I love Prusa. I'm wearing my Prusa Mafia shirt today. Right? I love Prusa. They don't pay me to say that. Yes, they sent me the Mark IV or the Mark IVS, and let's be real, I'm probably getting a Core 1. Just be real on that one. I spent like 3 hours with the product developer who oversaw the entire Core 1 project, probably getting a Core 1. You do pay a lot of money. You pay a lot of money to get a Prusa printer. You want to see the best marketing Prusa could have ever had? It's this right here. This right here is the best market Prusa could ever get. The Mark IIIS is still getting updates 6 years later. The Better 3/4 has a Mark 2.5S that is still getting updates God knows how many years later. I have every desire to start at a Mark I and work my way through the Prusa line and see how many original parts we can keep. But based on what we can see, it's pretty much none. But it would be funny. It'd be a lot of fun, too. But, like, yes, you pay a shitload of money for a Prusa. Yes, there's a Prusa tax. But you know what they're not going to do? They're not going to abandon you like this, put handcuffs on you, and you're not even consenting to it. And they're not going to play this game. Why? Because they're in the EU. They can't play this game. They're in the Czech Republic. They can't do this, right? They can't. This is the best advertisement for a Prusa printer that you could ever have. Like, unilaterally, I'm seeing Bambu people pissed off at this. Absolutely pissed off at this. Whether they're owners, fanboys, wannabes, people that were looking at buying a machine, they're all unilaterally pissed off. Why? Because this is the most anti-consumer, anti-competition thing that could happen when Bambu is only succeeding in this industry because of competition and being pro-consumer. This is taking all the things that you built your company on and giving it the middle finger. That's all this is. There. Now that's a Grant rant.
That's a Grant rant.
Bitches. Beard Printer with the $5. Crushing it all day. Hey, crushing it. Got a membership. He's in our Discord. I guess he doesn't need that, but hey, cool. Michael Rea got one. Joseph Carver got one. Magnus got one. And Ethan, not Steve Builds, got one.
Come on, guys. We're at 490 viewers.
We did tip 500, but I'm not
we did.
I'm not certain it got enough above it for YouTube to register it. It's weird the way YouTube does things.
What's the like ratio?
232 likes, 487 viewers.
Ooh. We can bump that up a little bit.
Yeah, those are rookie numbers. Gotta pump those numbers up. Dev Miner said, hey, we noticed you have 20 P1Ss in your account. Are you running a print farm? We suggest you use our product instead. Yep. Now, if you're running a legitimate print farm with P1Ss and Bambu releases a farm software, there might be some value to that, because the current way to do it is a little cumbersome, right? Where you have to figure out which machine you need to send it to. You got to name your machines properly and then send it to them. So having like a proper farm management software is probably not a bad idea. Prusa has a farm management tool that they don't publicize yet. You'll get it with the AFS. And they use it in their farm. I've seen it. It's a really cool piece of software. I think it's very, very valuable, but they are going to lock it behind enterprise-grade purchases. The problem is that if Bambu says, hey, we notice you're using more than X amount of machines, we're going to require that you use this software. And oh, yeah, you now have to pay us. Otherwise, your machines get bricked. Allegedly. Is that possible? From what we can see, yes. From what we can see, based on their terms of service and based on this update alone, yes, that is possible. Is it going to happen? We don't know. We don't know. This is a turn that I expected to happen. And you might say, well, Grant, how did you know? It follows the DJI way of doing things, right? DJI built their entire user base and following upon open source, right? Then they started to close. They released the Inspire series, their higher end. Now they have much higher end stuff too.
Oh yeah.
And then they locked you into the ecosystem where you're required to buy new hardware, right? Try getting the brand new Avata, but using all the stuff from your old Avata. Doesn't work. Get screwed. Spend more money. It's not a system designed for you to stay in it and use it long term. It is a system designed for you to pay over and over and over again. Because as I've said once and I'll say it again, I do not believe these machines are making a lot of profit, if any profit whatsoever, and that they're finding other ways to make money. They're absolutely making money on their materials, right? And that's why they're offering those deals to get materials at a reduced price. But this is moving toward a SaaS model for people that own machines. And that's a pain in the ass. Because if you own more than a handful of Bambu printers, and you're not wondering what the future looks like for you, you've missed the point. And I don't know if I like that. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Oh, Don S, 10 memberships. Hey, thank you. Russell Milliner, gonna get that one wrong. Calvertons, Ludwig, Ivan Jovic, sure. The 3D printer and Andrew Wilcoxon got one. Just My Day, Roman Pokrovskis, sure. Hopefully I got that one right. Jody C, Felix S, the network guy. Nathan got a membership. Thank you for gifting those memberships. Goes a long way to helping the channel grow. Greatly appreciated. I've got one of the people that dumped the software DMing me on Discord right now. They're like, hey, we've noticed you have 20 P1Ss in your account. Are you running a print farm? We suggest you use our product instead. With like red-eyed Clippy. Yeah, suggest stops becoming a suggestion when the suggestion becomes required.
Yeah. It could be foreseeable that there's just a limit on the Bambu Handy app. Put an artificial limit of 10 machines per account.
Wait. If they put a limit on the Handy app, do we call that edging?
You're making me think now.
If Bambu puts a limit on the Handy app, I think we call that edging.
I'd agree. I would actually agree. You would be edging the limits of the software. Oh, God, what is this stream? How is this the most people you've ever had on a stream? And it's just us. Oh.
Winslow Joy with the $9.99 says, first donation for 2025 ad-free streaming. Thank you for helping us keep the stream ad-free. Thank you so much. The network guys isn't torn between this and the Mitch 3D stream. You can have both open at the same time.
Yeah.
You can have both open at the same
time. No, that's good. Give us more views. Like, put us on another monitor. Do it. I don't care about that. Give us more views.
Your Bambu Handy. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Oh, God damn it. But no, you did hit on something really good about it. If they're not earning money, and I can promise you they're not earning money on every machine sale, maybe on the X series, but on the P series, that is a very small budget to work with. And on the A series, they use a £30 power supply, open frame power supply. We were going to use the exact same power supply from the exact same supplier in the same similar quantity discount, because there is no discount on some of these because they are already the cheapest they can be, because the world is the discount when they're selling 50 million a month. that's a £30 power supply. There is at least a £10 linear rail. Give another £15 of motherboard components, add a £10 precision engineered hot end, and all of a sudden there's no margin. And then you have to do shipping on top of that, which they eat into their own profit. The machine doesn't earn the money, it's the data. And it's the same with any free app. The app is free because you're still paying them. It's just in another format. It could be ads, or in this case, your camera feed and data. Like, if they know what you're printing, they can start working that out. And you are giving that to them. They already take it in their log files. They know exactly what you're printing. So just keep that in mind. Like, there's not much I can say. Like, they've got a oh, what is that thing again? Maker World.
Yep.
Green
Green
printables.
printables.
Like, you're already uploading the
It's
source
angry
files.
printables because it's the Hulk. It just gets, big
Yeah.
and green when it gets angry.
Like, they are already giving the source files to that software. They've got the entire ecosystem. They know exactly what you're doing when you're doing it.
But
And
Jacob,
that's a lot of data.
if you go 100% Maker World and take it off of everywhere else, they're going to support you in all of your takedowns. Oh,
Wow.
asterisk up to 6 per year, but asterisk they're actually not doing shit. Yeah, it's just frustrating because it's just meh.
It annoys me. I have to be so careful with what I say as
I don't.
a competitor. But oh my god, fuck Bamboo. Like, seriously, they had the golden goose. They made a great
This is shitting.
product.
It's shitting the bed. 100%.
And they've just taken laxatives in their bed and refused to get out. And they're just there like,
Oh, they've
yes, it's
Amber
fine. It's
Hearded.
fine.
Have they Amber Hearded the situation?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've
Like
Amber Hearded the situation.
there was so many opportunities for anyone in their pipeline to go, hey, maybe we just do it a bit differently. What if we did it like this? And the fact that no one in their pipeline of manufacturing to business control said no implies they didn't say no in the first place because this was the goal. They
Yep.
probably hit it on the head and they're doing what you said earlier. They are waiting for the inevitable backlash, make it look like they've listened to you, so Bamboo Lab good again, and then do it all over again in a year or two's time, whilst also making themselves a better position because they are actively poisoning the well of additive for anyone else. Like, the amount of industrial printer companies that have Bamboo Lab machines in their thing is quite high. And yeah, they will have other machines.
It's
They will probably have very
surprisingly
expensive,
high. Like
but
much
they're
higher than
getting
I
everywhere.
expected. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they are everywhere. And that's probably why they've done this. Because if everyone's bought one that is going to buy one, then they run out of customers. Like, there is a legitimate problem of customer saturation where if you have the perfect product, you've all of a sudden made the never-ending light bulb. Once everyone has a light bulb, you don't need more. How do you earn your money then? Well, you make it worse. And this is one step to make it worse. This is one step to give the bedrock for future profits. It's it just annoys me as somebody who likes additive, as somebody who likes printers, to see what quite frankly was a good thing for the industry turn so sour so quickly. And I'll say it now, Bamboo Lab have been great for the industry. They've added so many more people to 3D printing that it just helps everyone. Like,
Yep.
having an extra 100,000 people in the industry, even if they all bought Bamboo Lab printers, is still good because after they're done with that printer or they move on to something else, they're still customers in the industry now. All it meant was there's 100,000 more people that you wouldn't have targeted previously. That's a good thing. The fact they've gone around this, to me, it's a good thing because I'm I can tell you now, my website now has like a load more hits before we went on the live stream because people are looking at Bamboo Lab alternatives.
Yep.
But I'm here because it shouldn't have been that.
Yeah.
It you guys deserve so much better. And printing isn't black magic as much as the machine you press a button and something appears. It's just science, and it was really good until now, and we're starting to see that curtain pull back a little bit.
Zach Smith says they took printables and then made the contest targeted for Lockheed Martin. Yeah, it's like we're not even
I
in the
saw
we're
that.
not even through the first year of the first month of 2025, and they've already put up like a defense-based contest. Do not. I'm looking at you, War Thunder forums. Stop it. Don't upload that stuff. It's don't commit ITAR violations, please. Because last I checked, it's $250,000 per incident with up to 10 years in federal prison. And I know the metrics of our YouTube channel. There ain't a lot of you that are going to last a long time in the Fed, okay? That's all I got to say about that. I guess Hackaday just put out an article. Bambu connects authentication X.509 certificate and private key extracted. So this could also be, oh my God. Now, also we got a $10 donation from Shane Christensen with probably the top comment ever. Great comedy value. Excuse me while I await my first edging experience.
Oh no, I hope this doesn't actually stick. Because
I
this is
hope
gonna be actually I want it to stick. Screw it. Let's
buddy,
make it stick.
that's a bad word to use on
Oh,
that one. Oh, it's a bad
oh.
word.
Tony D with the question, can we make an AMS? We're on it. It just needs to be better than what it is at the moment. AMS, good. Our AMS needs to be better. We're working on it. Don't worry about it.
I still think I have an MMU3 that I need to build, to be clear. But I think the AMS is probably the best implementation of multicolor 3D printing for the value that we've seen. Damn it, do I need a Bambu edging shirt now? God bless it.
If you make one, I need one.
Staff,
I will pay the shipping and import.
Start putting stuff in the marketing text channel on the private side of the Discord of like all the stupid things that we've come up with here, so we can add them to t-shirt ideas, because I don't know what the hell we're doing anymore.
This is a fever dream of a stream.
Zach Smith said, was about to say, what about MJP before you said value? He's got to go to dinner. No, stay, Zach. We love you. Also, Prusa XL fan duct. Zach's one of the engineers working on that. So someone asked earlier if X1 Plus gets around this, and the answer currently is yes, but currently just keep your machine from auto-updating, and the answer is also yes, right? X1 Plus has not committed long-term on this. They don't know. Nobody knows, right?
The thing it's a passion project. They shouldn't have to commit to it.
Well, see, they're working with Bambu. But... So
are they?
Do not get me started on this. I'll rant to you privately off stream, but yes, they're working with Bambu. And it's why why installing X1 Plus via AirGap is not possible, because they're working with Bambu. And I'm gonna leave it at that, because I get very upset, because I was one of the initial beta testers and people that helped build X1 Plus.
Good for them. Do what they need.
They're working with Bambu money. Simply because it made sense. Because Bambu could lock them out. Straight up lock them out, right? And instead, they somehow negotiated. Don't know how that worked on either side. The, decisions of which are not public. That they would work together. But as Bambu said a long time ago, and they even referenced it in their blog article, we make no long-term commitment. No long-term commitment for X1 Plus, for the Panda series. They make no long-term commitment for any of it. Bambu basically said a while ago, we're going to end up locking this stuff out, and there's nothing any of you idiots can do. And all the idiots said, oh, they're not going to do that. How's that feel? How's it feel? How's it feel?
It's not the first time they lie to people's face. They openly said
Bambu did not lie. Bambu did not lie here. Bambu said they're not guaranteeing long-term support. Bambu was honest with people. People didn't believe Bambu. How's it feel? How's it feel to be like, oh, they would never do that? Yes, they would. They said they would. You didn't believe them. You've got nobody to blame but yourself. Like, sit here and be mad all day. Yes, it is anti-competitive. It is anti-consumer. It is anti-open source. The thing that they built their entire product line on. Without open source, Bambu would not exist, period. Period. Or they wouldn't exist in the level that they currently exist. They just gave the middle finger to open source. Now, in their defense, everybody kind of is too. Everybody's giving the middle finger to open source. Even Prusa.
I think we're the last major printing company. I say major, we're the smallest part of major. That is open source.
I wonder how many death threats I'm going to get from this stream. Sorry, I just popped in my head like I'm ranting a lot.
You are going to have the Bambu
off.
Mafia knocking on your door. You know it's going to happen because your internet's going to get fixed all of a sudden.
Shh, it's actually been okay so far.
Oh god, it's already started.
We've only dropped 820 frames for a hour and 35
That's really
minutes.
good.
I know, shut up.
Oh.
Vassiancy says, late on the suggestion, I know the spelling is a bit off, but Jake take. No, I think Lord Lecture wins it. And of course, the Happy Extruder was the one that suggested it. And I guess they're local to you then, Jacob?
If you're local to us, pop me an email. If you're local to the US, pop Grant an email.
Yeah, and if you're local, I got to send Jacob some stuff anyways, so I'm sure I can figure out how to maybe put a roll of Finland. I have no idea how much it's going to cost. But I have some heavy stuff to send you already.
I don't even know what you're sending me. This is the first you're telling me about it.
I know, it's great. I'm excited for it.
This is the second time you've thrown something. We're doing this now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's fun. Well,
I love it.
It wouldn't be a surprise if I told you what it was.
Then why did you tell me in stream? You should have just sent him and be like, oh yeah,
this way. It's fun. It's fun to bother you.
Fair, in live stream now, you've got my face going, what is going on?
I also have your face saying edging, which means I can turn that into a soundbite for the Discord.
Do you think I'm not going to do that myself?
I hope
I have an entire server of just stickers of my face doing random things.
I've noticed because I think your server's bleeding into this live stream, and there have been some people making raunchy suggestions about you in the chat.
Oh no.
Yeah, and as Karen says, don't be suggesting DDoS attacks. Don't be stupid.
No, don't do that. Seriously, guys. We only win when we don't break the law.
That's a federal crime. Federal. That's not...
You like seeing 4 concrete walls? And I'm not talking about Japanese nice buildings here. I'm talking about prison.
I have 2 around... 2? Yeah, I have 2 around me. Does that count? The one in front of me is not concrete. The one over there is concrete.
You have a toilet in there.
There's not a toilet in here, but that would make it way easier to work. I wouldn't have to...
No, trust me, you don't want that. I've ruined myself. My bathroom is there behind my blurred finger, and in the factory, it's like 1 second walk away.
Yeah,
my bladder is so small now because I'm like, oh, I need to go to the loo. I'll just go to the loo. I'll get back to work. And now I go on a long drive, and it's like 4 hours. I'm like, bollocks. I have ruined myself.
Love it. Raphael said, what about accusing Bambu, Microsoft, the list goes on for federal crimes? They're not doing anything. So in the States, Bambu, as far as I'm aware, and I'm not a lawyer, it's not legal advice, right? I don't believe Bambu has done anything against US law. Does it mean that it's not wrong? No. US laws only matter if you're not rich. I was going to say poor, but technically not rich is more specifically correct. And Bambu is funded by IDG Capital, the largest venture capital firm in the world. Right? Who else does IDG fund? Polymaker, Anycubic, just to name a few. Now, your filament, not going to collect any data on what you print. Your buying preferences will be collected, but every company does that, right? Every company does that. Do I like it? No, but every company does it. I don't believe that Bambu has done anything currently illegal. But I'm also not an attorney. And I'm not rich enough to have an attorney on retainer. I'm not Gamers Nexus. I shaved my head for charity. I'm not Computer Jesus anymore. All right? Like, I'm not there yet. Would we like to be able to have a attorney on retainer that we could have in our videos? Yes. But to do that, we need support from generous donations from viewers like you to like, subscribe, share, donate, join Patreon, PayPal, YouTube channel members at the $10 tier and higher. As soon as I'm done here, we're going to be hanging out in our Discord server, shooting the shit and having a lot more fun. The party don't stop when the stream cuts off, all right?
There's an after party.
There's always an after party for the most part. And as VAT said, y'all should check out Breaker 3D stream right now. He's streaming to help out Mitch. Justin should know that we're streaming right now and should make it after we're done streaming. But yes, open up another window, go hang out with Breaker 3D as well.
Yeah.
But don't.
But as you were saying, I don't believe they've broken US laws. Now, EU laws, they might have. Now, again, not a lawyer by any means.
Yep.
I just know a little bit about it. The terminology they're using, the lack of clarity, and especially in the EU where consumer protection is very, very strong. They have to at least give approval. In this case, it will be like an email saying, hey, we're changing things. Do you want to get out? Those are things that are protected in EU law. So there is an argument that could be made that they are either at minimum skirting around, at worst just forgot it existed. Again, don't attribute to malice what stupidity could be. I strongly believe they're just not going to read the ungodly amount of pages of a PDF that the EU law has. Trust me about that. I don't do that.
They have lawyers, and if they don't, they do now. They're being sued by Stratasys. They've got lawyers. In fact,
they've got lawyers.
Bambu's response so far has been one of the best responses I've ever seen, which is, you sued all the other entities but the US entity. Are you an idiot? And we'll see what happens in the court. But yeah, if you are in the UK and the EU and you find this to be a problem, there are ways for you to report it to get investigations started. Unfortunately, the US does not have consumer protection anywhere near the level that the UK does. Or EU. We don't actually care about consumers here. Period.
Anyways, buy my products. I'll care about you.
Joe Anon says ChatGPT can summarize. That's not reliable. Never should. And don't. Please read it. Please always read it just to make sure. Shane Christensen said, I think people need to understand that we are not griping about the machines and the great quality of performance. The business practices we are seeing is what the gripe is. And literally, other than like my first couple of experiences with Bambu and like that 6-month video that still gets comments to this day, I don't gripe about the machines. I gripe about the company and their objectively stupid business practices. Like, they've made just some really stupid... Bambu, you shot yourself in the foot on this one. And maybe this isn't any press is good press. Maybe this was designed to be reverse engineered, so it gets all this press for an upcoming release of the H2D and potentially 2 other machines, right? Inside of this software, Bambu Connect, we see 2 new machines. They're bed slingers, according to their scheme so far, right? So I'm going to go through it, okay? The A1 Mini, codename N1. Then the A1, codename N2S, okay? There is now a machine with the codename N2 and one with the codename N2D. Now, to me, N2D is Delta. Some people say dual, like IDEX. N2 appears to be the successor to the A1 Mini. What does any of that mean? I don't know. I ain't got a clue. I'm not claiming to know a clue. I'm saying the software shows us there's new machines. We saw the leaks of the H2D, right? Bambu's weird rocking dual extruder dingus, right? We saw that. It was not denied by Bambu representatives that I spoke to at Smurf. It was not confirmed either, but it was not denied.
Also, it might not look like that. A drawing and real life, two different things.
They didn't deny that it
Pattern
looked like that.
drawings, they can be a bit different.
Catless says, I'm going to guess that it's the dual extruder on a single tool head patent leak. No, because these machines are specifically not Core XY. They're in the same naming category as the A1 and A1 Mini. So they're not Core XY. And specifically, they have inside the software, it's a table. And the table says Core XY, index, then A1 Mini, N1, N2, A1, N2S, then N2D, and the values are X for all of them, which means no, because then there's check marks for when there is yes. So, and what we saw in the, what we saw in that leak was a Core XY printer. And if I'm correct, it's the 320 cube. 320 cube. And no, there are no mentions in this software for the H2D. So maybe the H2D is under a different name. I don't know. We don't know any of this stuff yet.
We also just I see Lost in Tech asking about wasn't the H2D proven to be an old 2-year-old pick? Yes. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. The picture there could have been concept art. We don't know until they officially announce something.
Also,
all we
it's
know
Lost
is
in
it
Tech.
is coming.
It's not Lost in Tech. Based on my experience with Lost in Tech,
I know.
They had an entire fish tank stream, which was hilarious. I did not know.
I never see the googly eyes appearing over time.
Yeah,
I just looked back and there was 3.
Yeah. He randomly put googly eyes on throughout the whole thing. You know, and if you don't know what we're talking about, you got to go watch the 1440 stream from last week, where we had a large enough donation that Alan Mandick ran a Bowden tube. He does body mod stuff. You know, these tattoos and his piercings and all that, through his ear, then through his nose piercing, and then into his Mark 4S, where he printed a nose. Yo, dog. And gave it away for $500. It was great. It was awesome. I love raising money for charity. Raised over $15,000, over $16,000 by the next morning. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, someone paid through the nose for that print. Damn it, that's actually really good. Yeah, I don't see. There's part of me that says this is an any press is good press kind of thing, right? Where they're relying on the fact that this becomes viral quickly, right? And then they can walk this back. They can walk this back. And then what I would say is this was a test to see if people are going to get pissed. And they're going to keep testing and keep testing and keep testing until we stop being pissed. But that's not how this should work.
I think I'm a bit more pessimistic. I think they're not going to walk it back, or they're going to do some wording to make it look like they walked it back, but not walk it back. Leave it as the Band-Aids getting ripped off, and understand that, yeah, they might have lost 10 or 15, maybe even 20% of their current consumer base. And then just do the math of, well, if we lost 20%, do we earn more than 20% back with our decisions in the future? So, I don't know. A lot, especially around the Bambu Lab side, there's a lot of people forget what they've done in the past. I mean, you've experienced it with just announcing what the data logs were.
Yep.
If anyone hasn't watched that, which, surprise, you should, it's bad. It's really bad. Now, part of my background is computer science, data security, analysis, like all of these little things come together to make me see it's horrendously bad. Like, they are logging a level of data that is, I could get into another rant on that. I'm not going to go that way. But that got forgotten about very quickly. Like, the video didn't get taken down. It did get brigaded. You got death threats, for Pete's sake.
It was great.
But
you know what I love having on Christmas Day? Death threats.
Death threats.
That's my favorite thing.
The gift that keeps on giving.
It is, yeah. And it's the Florida man that keeps on Florida manning.
But yeah, like, people forgot. People didn't care.
Yep.
Then it became just common knowledge, even though it very much isn't. It got to the stage where some military industrial companies, which I will not name because I'm under Official Secrets Act for it, had to change internal policies to ban Bamboo Lab machines because they didn't know. And they did due diligence to bring these machines in because it was such a well-kept secret that wasn't a secret. Like, I just think it might be forgotten.
Yeah.
And they will bite the bullet for now. See that maybe 10 or 20 YouTube videos, though. I bet they didn't expect Lewis Rossman of all things to make a video.
Yeah,
So
they
they
didn't
might
expect
walk
the
it back
angry New
now.
Yorker to get involved in this.
But I think they planned for it just to be a sour bit that is then quickly smoothed over in maybe a month when they release a new printer. I don't know when the new printer's releasing, but a new machine launch with some new features that then people can then retroactively go, oh, that made sense. They did this then.
Yeah.
Makes all of that bad like faith disappear. And that's where I think it will go. But I'm pessimistic. I'm very much cyberpunk mindset. Everyone's out to get you, and if it's not the corporations, it's definitely the corporations.
So, damn it, as Karen is saying, could there be a possible valid reason for locking it up? So,
Yes,
um,
I'd say yes.
is it possible? Sure. Is this it? No. No. It's not. It's not. So Luke, if you don't know who Luke is, Big Tree Tech, operating under personal, no representation of the company, stated that this is not a security thing. It's a control thing. They are locking out users from using the Panda Touch series and all that kind of stuff because of it. I agree. I said it well before Luke did. It's a control thing. It's all a control thing. It's literally step one of a plan for control. You take a little bit and you see what you can get. Those that will accept it will accept it. Those that don't, they weren't going to accept it anyways. Brick their machines and move on. The ones that do accept it, now fish on, right? All I gotta do is reel it in. Some of them are going to be harder to reel in than others. And if they break the line, they break the line. Too bad. But what happens is when you get that fish up, now you got him by the short and curlies. Okay? That's it. It's over. You can now control everything about the machine. You can lock them into subscriptions. You can force lock down the RFID, which, oh yeah, they were going to do initially. The community got pissed at them. They walked it back. This is the first step in walking it back in. Sorry. Please reference this video. Whether it ages like wine or milk, reference it. Reference it. Because it is valuable to have these resources of people that are sitting here saying, we've seen this happen before. We know how this works. This is all about control. Data collection, I'm assuming. It's just hand in hand with cloud servers. Control, 100%. 100%.
So yeah, if there's a valid reason, I'd say yes. It could be not for your benefit, it's company benefit. That's a valid reason. They validated more money. That's a valid reason. Is there a valid reason to add security? Hell yeah. Always add security. That's not a bad
Amazing.
thing.
Yeah. Great. Add more security.
The problem isn't that.
But don't
It's
hide
that
it
they're
behind
hiding
security.
Hiding it behind the benefit of security. That's the kicker. That's where it goes wrong.
Yep.
And it is so disingenuous. It boils my blood. It's why, as a company, I don't have a cloud service. It would have been really easy to add a plugin to the RepRap firmware and have some form of cloud service to give you mobile phone access from anywhere. But other than it doesn't make business sense, because to be honest, how many people are wanting to actually watch a printer from leaving that doesn't have any other system? Pretty much no one.
And if you want to, go get a cheap IP camera, lock it down, put a freaking smart plug on it, and move on with your life. Right?
Yep.
Just nuke power to the printer. turn it back on 10 seconds later, let it cool itself down.
Yeah.
It's the same damn thing without any of the major security risks that come with the printer being online. Now you've got a open IP camera, which is a whole nother, potential issue. But yeah, there are
Yeah.
so many better ways to lock it down that wouldn't have disabled all of these features. It literally would have taken less work, been easier to program, and wouldn't have used Electron. Damn it. I'm getting messages on WhatsApp. I have a feeling I know who they're
Oh
from.
no. Hopefully good ones.
Oh. Yep. It's from people.
Oh. Do you need a moment? I could take over for a bit.
Keep reading. Or keep talking.
So, when it comes to just locking it down in the first place, like, that is not a bad thing. We've stated that enough times. It's the handing over control that is, again, the bad thing. But then it gets a little bit weirder. Like, they've got future things to do as a company, and they are prepping for it. The problem is that is not in your interests. You are losing control of the machines you have at the moment. They're basically saying, screw you. I mean, they've openly said to Soft Fever to go pound sand on the same day that they then announced that they're working with him.
Oh, we're
so
working
they
with
don't lose
them!
it.
No, you're
They
not.
wanted Orca Slicer to be around because it's good. Bambu Lab, good. And then they immediately tell Soft Fever to go out back and shoot yourself because they don't care what he thinks. They don't care about you. They want their walled ecosystem of infinite profit. And they pretty much got it at this point. Like, you've got the machines. You don't want to throw those machines out because a lot of people, especially like the smaller print farms where they've put a lot of their own investments in, they are just going to have to say yes because they can't afford to say no. And the moment you're stuck in that, you are now stuck in an ecosystem that's going to keep spending money. And that's when they earn their profit. It's not a generally good thing to have as a community. Like, there's a reason open source existed for as long as it did, was because the community made it great. All of these new closed source printer companies are based on open source in the first place. Bambu Lab is based on open source. They would not be here if it wasn't for Prusa, if it wasn't for
Voron.
the Creality modders or Voron.
They distinctly credit Voron.
Yeah. I mean, I found it so enraging. So when we were a small business, smaller than we were now, literally we've only done one trade show, I was having a cider with Joseph Prusa himself. And he was just having a nice little rant to me about the fact that they couldn't be bothered as Bambu Lab to get rid of the tracking numbers inside their Bamboo Connect, not Connect, their
Bambu Studio. That's how
Bambu
Prusa
Studio.
knew about it. Because
they knew about it.
One of their devs stupidly clicked send all data.
Yep.
And so that's why when you run Orca Slicer, you put it in stealth mode, it sends no data anymore. I should have had my tinfoil here, because like that's my tinfoil hat conspiracy, that they're pissed off at stealth mode because they're not getting data.
Yeah.
Because it is an auto opt-in that you cannot opt out of in Bambu Studio is data collection. You cannot opt out of it. Last I checked, I ain't downloading that shit again.
I mean, happening. That's my tinfoil hat. Now, I'm going on another Lord lecture.
Oh, it's a Lord lecture? All right, send it.
Bet you. I would put money down if I had it, which I don't, but I would put money down that Bambu Lab have already shown a track record of dealing with AI.
I've got $1. I know that's like half a pound.
5-7 round.
Put that down.
My gut feeling, like, Bambu Lab have already shown they're doing AI. They have straight up got a photo to body scan thing, which they've definitely not ripped from an open source AI 3D model generator and called it their own. Not salty on that, but they are showing signs of interest. And if they keep going down that line, it's going to become very easy to monetize decisions. Like, it could be anywhere from a paid service for print farms to automatically something like a PCBWay service, just like throw a model into an online thing, get a quote back type thing. Link up your Bambu Lab printer to that service, and AI will automatically generate where the supports are needed, what orientation it needs to be in, and then bam, that's a paid service that you could opt in for. There is so much they could do with the amount of data that they're gathering from Slicer, because they can see where you're putting your support materials and what materials they decide need support materials, all the way to the models themselves, because you're just giving them that. If they were being a nice company, they would have just done bounding boxes, because it's low on data, it's easier on the servers. Like, don't get me started on how much servers cost for the amount of data that they're gathering. That is a warning flag on its own. But let's say I wanted a mobile phone stand. So I put it on my bed, and then I put a bounding box around it for easy, like, this area can't be printed in versus this. That's what I would be collecting as a good company. I just need to know how big are the items and roughly where are they positioning it, because then I can optimize probably bed location,
Yep.
maybe give a warning here and there. That's good data collection. Bit like intrusive, but generally fine. Sending the file, however, that is another level, because you're now sending however big those files are. I've worked on files that are multiple megabytes. And let's go conservatively, Bambu Lab has, say, 4 or 5 million users. It's probably higher than that, but let's say 4 or 5 million just for the math. If everyone is sending multiple megabyte of files, they're taking terabytes of data daily,
Petabytes on a daily basis.
instantly.
And when you're
Like,
looking at these print farms that have 40, 50, 60 plus machines, like, we have 70 something machines here. How many of them are actually useful? I don't know. But you don't state the number of running machines, you state the number of machines, because numbers matter. There's a
But like,
pile of enders that need to be
there's so much
donated.
data in that, and that's where money is.
Yeah.
They could monetize that easily. This is the groundwork for that. And then it gets a little bit further. Like, let's say I had infinite money myself, so I could just develop something like that. If I was Bambu Lab, I would be doing this now. I have millions of printers out in the market. I could make my own print on demand service based on this new rule, because now I can lock your machines out if they're not up to date, because then that means I can stay in control and know which machines are which. I can use AI as a paid service, so you pay for the right to earn money, which is way too cyberpunky in my head. And then you've basically got distributed manufacturing across the entire world, which Bambu Lab can take a cut for. That's huge money. Like, all of a sudden, PCBWay's like FDM arm ceases to exist overnight, because most people that use it aren't printing in peak, they're printing in PLA. And they
Yeah, but
just
SLS is better
want an
anyways.
object. SLS is better.
It's
If
better.
you're doing industrial additive
It's just
and it's
better.
on the big scale, go SLS.
Even on the small
Like,
scale,
there's benefits
it's
to
better.
FDM. Like, I do agree, FDM has its benefits,
Yeah, but when
but
you're
that's a separate
outsourcing,
conversation.
just go SLS. It's so much better. MJF or SAF or
Yeah.
whatever 3-letter, thing. Powdered nylon is so much better than filament.
It's easy to work with, it's easy to source, it's easier to recycle.
It does have that whole
Yeah.
powder in the lungs problem, but
But
hey,
you pay a minimum wage worker, you don't care what their lungs are like.
minimum wage. I thought we
Looking at
were
you,
under that.
corporate America.
Kyle Quinn said, wait until people defending this find out they'll have to use Bambu filament, can only print on MakerWorld, and have to pay a subscription for Bambu Studio in 2 to 5 years. Yeah. This is the precursor, right? This is that test, right? This is the Los Alamos, if you will, right? We're literally doing this to see how upset you get, and to prove and to like verify whether or not the people are dangerous, right? How dangerous are the users? I think they're finding out the users are probably a little bit more dangerous than they expected when you have YouTubers with combined more than 20 million subscribers talking about this, with reaches well beyond Bambu's own actual reach. This is properly dangerous. It is the atom test, right? How are they going to react? And what does that look like? And I don't like any of that. Like, don't get me wrong. If I signed up for this and said, hey, I'm okay with this. I want a subscription system. I'm a business. I want a subscription system. I want Formlabs, right? I want EOS. I want Stratasys. Because again, there are reasons to wanting a closed ecosystem. When you buy a Bambu printer, you're not buying into a fully closed ecosystem. You're buying into a hardware closed ecosystem. You never bought into a software closed ecosystem. There was always an open ecosystem around it. When you change that ownership to a lease or an ownership to a not ownership, a borrowing, a trust me, bro relationship, the one thing I'm not going to do is trust you, bro. I'm just not. Because Bambu has never given me a reason to trust them, right? They called me out specifically in one of their blog posts, calling me a liar. Now, not by name, but timing, it was me. When I proved all the things they said about me, the ones that I actually said, not the ones that they claimed I said, to be true, they never issued a retraction. They never updated their blog post. They did none of that. Why? Because they got what they wanted. They turned the community against me for talking about the truth. How's it feel, community? I like the silence there. It's good.
There's nothing you can retort to it because it's completely on point. Like, this is a bad situation. There is no good conversation around this. It is almost like you and a very small subset of others have been very vocal, trying to just be informative. Like, not even tell people, here's a stance, even though I would be telling people immediately, here's a stance. It's just, hey, this is what's available. This is what's happening. And then almost instantly, they shut you down. Like, it's a very...
I don't blame them for what they did.
I don't know. Oh God, no.
No, they
Like,
they did the move they had to make, right? I don't
oh
blame
yeah,
them at all for what they did. But it doesn't change the fact that it happened, and I'm still salty about it. Like, they've started banning people in their Reddit, on their
yeah,
Discord, for talking about this. This is disinformation working right here. This is the level of... I think propaganda is a little bit heavy-handed
yeah.
as a term, but
What
disinformation
you
is.
can say, if they are banning you for asking a question, they might not be on the right side of the moral hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Just say, like, you shouldn't be banned for going, hey, I don't agree with this. That is silencing critics. Like, freedom of speech is one thing in America. They are doing the opposite of that. Like, you could argue like that is it First Amendment, Second Amendment, right?
First
I don't
Amendment's
know.
the
I'm
freedom of
UK.
speech.
First Amendment. Like, you have now got a foreign company that is third partying because they're going to be unofficial moderators doing it, obviously. But they're controlling what people can say and they're controlling a narrative. Like, come on. Like, it doesn't take rocket science. This is not great. Like, if they were in the right, they wouldn't be silencing, they'll be answering. But they're not. They're silencing, which means they're trying to hide, disinform, control a narrative. It could be so easy if they turn around and gone, oh no, we fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we made a mistake. Thank you for all the feedback. Give us more. We fix it. They do that? No.
I bet they're still going to do it. Now, see, here's the
Of
thing
course they are. They're controlling the narrative.
Here's the thing that people aren't getting, and they're missing a huge point. Chinese New Year.
Ooh.
And when's that start, ladies and gentlemen? It's the 25th. Chinese New Year starts the 25th. When's the software rollout? 23rd.
23rd. Oh, they are doing the equivalent of a Friday night launch. Ah.
When... Oh, 28th technically. Excuse me.
Still, that is close.
They're doing it basically with a middle finger. They're launching
They
it and
don't
they're
care.
walking away. Now, Bambu, I'm sure they're still going to have people working. But your level of response, through the floor.
Yeah.
Ladies, this is going to be a problem.
I mean, it shows
Right?
they've got no intent to change it because they wouldn't
No.
have done it then. If they did it after, they have the manpower to do big change. But they chose a time because they already knew in their heads there's no need to have people on board. We're not changing it.
Yep.
Like, social media is one thing. You only need a few people to do very small amount of work on social media to control a narrative for a big company. Doing a policy change needs people.
Yep.
Social media doesn't.
No.
You can see intent from how they distribute their labor, and they are not putting labor into the right area.
So, Little Ape further up said, even if they backtrack on all this, the damage has already been done. People won't forget and won't trust them anymore. I want to talk
People will
about
forget.
that. I want to talk about that because I believe they're going to forget completely. I believe people aren't going to care. I firmly believe. Now, we have the bigger YouTubers talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, right? But see, the trick is they're doing it right before they go away for a month. Okay. And what's going to happen is during that time period, theoretically, nothing is going to happen. And those 3 weeks are going to be enough that users are going to forget. They're just going to forget. What I have an issue with are the people that aren't connected to the community that bought an X1 or a P1 or an A1 and don't know about this. And they're just going to update because it makes sense. It makes sense. But why wouldn't you update your firmware? And then these people end up in a situation where they can't go back. That's the kind of stuff that worries the hell out of me. DJ LSD, great name, said, all my 8 Bambus are getting Manta M8P controllers next week. It's official. Start tagging me on Twitter or Blue Sky when you post updates on that, because I want to know. I don't believe you're going to have a very good time doing that, but by all means, go ahead.
I was just going to say good luck.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need it. The amount of integration every part of a Bambu Lab machine has is insane. Like, I can't remember when I ripped open my P1P if I actually saw an encryption chip on multiple pieces of hardware. So they need the same chip between them to communicate.
Well, they're doing encryption on chip. And that's why, so for the log file, you couldn't read it. Even though it was stored in the machine encryption for you, couldn't read it because exporting the log file went through the encryption algorithm. Once the rootkit was in there, it was over. We could read it plain as day because there was no decryption necessary. Right? DJ LC said, thanks, there, my initials. Beautiful. Lucy in the sky with diamonds, if you will. Been using SNCC for 15 years. Ooh, but I'm a girl, also an electric engineer, so I'll be good. All right. I'm sorry, like 96% of our audience is male. My bad. My bad.
Lost in Tech with a really good question.
What do we got?
How do you feel whether content creators bear the responsibility to inform viewers?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
The content creators are not the beta tester. Now, I'm not even talking about...
I have such a spicy opinion on this.
As Construct 3D. This is me business, Jacob, now.
Please, Lord... What do we call it? Lord, lecture us. Lecture us, my lord.
Companies, if you're watching this, stop using your YouTubers as beta testers. Either pay them through the nose for it, because they have other jobs to do,
please
or
pay
hire
us.
Actual beta testers.
No. Please pay us.
They should not be the ones that get a machine and you go, figure it out, we'll fix it with you, because that's not it.
Don't have your SSRs get to 200 degrees Celsius!
Exactly. Like, do basic testing yourself, make it a product that you'll be happy with, and then it might be the little things. Like, we found one thing. We have a probe that we only found out was after like 2,000, 3,000 hours. It wasn't rated for the rating they said it was. There's no way we could have checked that because we need an X-ray scanner, and I am not buying an X-ray scanner. Like, you just got to trust, like, when you cut it open, it's what they say, and you go, oh, yeah, it's what they say. It wasn't. But that's what you find when you give to YouTubers. That's acceptable, I would say, is they use it a lot more than most people. If they come by and go, oh yeah, by the way, I found this very small little thing that you overlooked, that's good. Don't make them be hardware. Don't make them be doing safety critical. Don't make them be doing hardware critical. Don't make them be doing like the legal stuff. Hire a bloody lawyer to do it correctly. Do the safety testing correctly. Don't lie about your safety testing. Don't lie about your ETL. You know who I'm talking about. And if you don't, I'm not going to tell you. Live in your nice little fantasy world where everything works the way they intended it. But YouTubers are not, at the end of the day, free labor for you to use to make your printers better. I don't care if you release a bad product and then you release a version 1.1 later. It shouldn't be the YouTuber's fault that that product was dangerous. It's your fault it was dangerous because you didn't check it. How expensive it is to get a thermal camera and just point it at your machine for 20 minutes and find that fault. Like, there's so many issues that you can see immediately if you just look.
Or do,
There was
a
I
small
won't name the
amount of
printer
basic
brand.
user testing.
I won't name the printer brand because I actually really like the people behind the printer. It's just a very gentle oversight. There was a fan plugged in the wrong way. As in, like, there was just a little bit of a gap between the fan and the heatsink, meaning dirt could get trapped in there. And it could cause a fire. And it has caused a fire. That, small oversight. But you could have seen that if you just put a thermal camera on it for 5 minutes. You could see if your frame is grounded in 5 minutes. Like, little things build up to big problems if you leave your quality control and your safety control to entertainers. No offense. I class most YouTubers as entertainers before hardware specialists. They might be hardware specialists, but that doesn't mean you use them as hardware specialists because they need to make content and you're putting people's lives at risk. Lord Lecture over.
Give me like 2 minutes.
Lord Lecture back. There we
so
go.
all right, I'm gonna tell people what's going on. So it's been raining and they're doing a bunch of construction, and the road is so muddy that a forerunner just got stuck. And well, 2 hours ago, I'm just seeing it now. My neighbor's asking if they can use my property to get out to the main street, but my property's blocked by a down tree, so I don't know if they can do it. They'll have to use my neighbor's.
Sounds like you're having fun. But no, so yeah, lost in tech. No. You should not be the responsibility for informing people of a danger because the danger shouldn't exist. Now, do I agree that out of the goodness of your heart, you might want to use your audience to know about a problem? Yes, because you're a good person. And it comes down to that. Like, there shouldn't need to be like a Lewis Rossman talking about the problems with just corporate overreach with right to repair. Every machine should be right to repair. That shouldn't need to be a thing. And it's the same with this. Like, yes, please tell people when you see something that's wrong, but it shouldn't happen in the first place. That's where I think it falls apart. You should be focusing on your jobs, which is making good content, enjoying your product. Maybe if it's like you're more of a Voron person, you build Voron things and you talk about that. Not, oh my God, I started reviewing this printer and 40 minutes later, my office burnt down. That's worse because, I mean, at the end of the day, there's only like 20 or 30 major additive YouTubers. They're the ones that are going to get the warning out for safety. That's not a large quantity of data. So I don't know. I wouldn't do it. That's me personally. I would test things in advance. It's why we spent pretty much every penny of profit we've ever earned on testing. It's why I don't take a wage, because every penny I could have taken out to feed myself not pot noodle, I put into testing and buying the right equipment and taking a smaller margin, just because at the end of the day, the only person that matters in business is the customer, as much as bigger companies will say the shareholders. It's the customer because they're the ones that buy it.
Oh. All right. I've got a spicy opinion on this whole content creator thing.
Oh, go on, go on.
All right, the content creators that don't.
Actually, before you do, if you're a news content creator, yeah, it's your job.
So the
That's it.
content creators that have previously been sponsored by Bambu, if they don't speak up about this, you can tell where their priorities are. I'm sorry. And look, I'm a businessman, right? I'm a businessman. I am trying to turn YouTube into a profitable business venture for myself and my team. I want to pay better wages. I want to take a friggin' salary from this, and I want to travel the world interviewing fun people like Jacob, where he throws me out of his shop and throws a coffee mug at me for reasons I still don't understand, because I don't know what the hell a cuppa is. You don't get that reference, but you will get it soon, TM.
You'll have to comment it in the comments of that video.
Yeah.
And tell him what it is.
Yeah, you'll just have to know. But any content creator that has been sponsored by Bambu that would normally make a video about stuff like this, that is silent, that isn't talking about it on social media, follow the leads. I'm sorry. I'm going to call out the content creators that aren't saying this kind of stuff, because right now it's your responsibility. And they're the bigger ones, right? It's like myself, Nero, and Mandic are like the biggest content creators talking about this. We are combined less than some of these bigger guys that should be saying things about this. You all need to speak up. This is a public safety issue. This is a right of ownership issue. This is a right of use issue. They need to say something. And it pisses me off when they don't, because it tells me where they're aligning. I'm upset by this because I like these people personally. I'm not going to name names, but I like these people personally. Pretty much all the big content creators that I've met, they're great people. But they have to, at some point, put the community before their paycheck. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous that we as the smaller creators are stuck having to be the ones that sit there and say, literally as the title for this video, do not update your Bambu. Nero should not have been the first creator to put a video out.
No.
He was. Put it out right before my stream, you bastard.
But you should have seen me watching that at 3 times speed to make sure I've not forgotten anything.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet. And I won't.
It's really good.
I won't, because I'm going to make my own video, and I don't want his opinions to, like, influence mine. But
wow. It's almost like you've got integrity. So you're not coloring your output by somebody else's words.
I did watch the Lewis Rossman video, though.
To be fair, that was really fun.
It was really good.
That was really good. If you haven't seen it, you have to go watch it.
Yeah,
it was
like
on point.
To be fair, I do not believe that they are deliberately trying to mislead their audience. I think they're trying to maintain a business relationship. And it's kind of why I'm glad I don't have those. I don't have companies that are paying me to do projects. I'm trying to get one, but they are no longer replying to me after I ask them for money. RIP. It is a Kickstarter printer, so I was a little bit on the fence about it. So I'm like, all right, I'll talk about it and I'll show it. And they wanted me to do some projects with it. And I'm like, well, I want some money to do this. You know, you guys want me to do all these videos. I'm not doing it for just a printer and some filament. That's not how this works. You got to pay me for my time. No. Dead air. It's been dead air ever since.
Even when we were in a Kickstarter. Now, bear in mind, we got good rates when we did like collaborations with people because they knew we were small. We never asked for free because that's just insulting. Their time is worth money. Pay them. It doesn't have to be as much as you would if you were larger. Like, if I was Bambu Lab, I would throw an ungodly amount of money at YouTubers, which, to be fair, they do actually
They did, and
because they've got the money.
Well. They have had the best influencer marketing campaign of any company that I've ever seen in this industry by major factors.
Okay, so I've actually got some spicy news for that because we launched our Kickstarter when they went public. So I actually can see the day when they went public versus how it affected our Kickstarter earnings. And we had this really nice growth. We basically hit 20K in 24 hours, really fast. Like we were on track for maybe getting 150K, and then it just stopped because every YouTube feed, every social media feed immediately became Bambu. And to their credit, that's how you do it. That's how you do viral marketing. You pay your YouTubers, you pay your influencers, and you respect them. The moment you stop doing that is the moment it kind of falls apart, and it becomes this, I expect you to do free stuff because I'm giving you a machine. And that is not a thing. It's like a restaurant reviewer going into a restaurant expecting a free meal. No, they will buy the meal because they are buying a service.
As they
Just
should.
because they make content from it is a different matter. Now, if they are willing to do a deal, that's to an individual level. But when it becomes the other way around, it's like the restaurant hiring a reviewer. If you said, "Oh no, we're going to give you a free meal," everyone's going to turn around going, "Piss off," because a restaurant doesn't hire reviewers for free. They cost money. Just because you're giving them a meal does not mean that's the payment. A printer is not payment for work.
All
It
right.
might make it incentivized. Like if you're a Michelin star, you might want to give them a discount because it's an expensive meal.
I'll take free Michelin starred meals.
Shut up, I'm trying to make a point.
To make a point, but I want a Michelin star. Right. Go ahead.
So do I. But like the whole thing is if you are buying a reviewer, you are buying a reviewer.
It's
You're not
illegal.
giving them free. A
It's a
like
federal crime in the United
yeah,
States.
when we did our work in Kickstarter with Joel and Joe for the two YouTube videos we mainly did,
Do
or
not
the
mention the
series of YouTube.
rates for reference. Do not do that.
No, I will not be
Okay.
because oh my god, the just the talk is eye opening. I didn't realize how YouTube works behind the scenes because this is the first I experienced it. One of the first conversations we had was all about bias and how to get rid of it. Because we can't give anything for free because it gives positive bias. We can't pay too much because then it gives positive bias. We have to be so ungodly fair to what we're offering. And that is where it's like even got to so for Joe, Breaks and Makes, love you.
He's back to noob, I
We
thought.
I think he is back to noob. I can never remember. To me, he's Joe and belongs in my heart. But we bought him something by accident. I think it was just lunch. Like I bought him like a €6 lunch. And out of his own proclivities, because he didn't want there to be more money going one way than the other, he bought lunch back for us the next day. Like it's not disingenuous. You said it was illegal. At the lightest thing, it is immoral
It's
to
unethical, but it is illegal in the United
unethical. That's it.
States.
There we go.
Yeah,
It's unethical to do it.
it's illegal in the United States. It's an FTC violation. So here's the deal. I'm a content creator. Hi. We cannot take money for a review. We can't do it. It's illegal. There are inherent biases to getting a machine for free because free machine, that's like even on the Plus 4, it was $800 machine, right? That's free. It didn't cost me a dime. It cost me my time. It cost me like 3 friggin' live streams, and is ultimately going to cost me like $500 in a FLIR camera, right? So I can not have this problem again and not burn myself on printers. But like this company that's doing this Kickstarter, they wanted me to do project videos with their machine. And I said, I'm not going to review it. That's not what we do. I will show it working, right? I think reviews are bullshit for the most part because unless you're paying for it, there are biases. And if you're paying for it, there are biases because you expect it to work for a certain amount of money. That's why I was so upset with my Bambu because I paid for it. I was upset with everything because I paid for it and the stupid things weren't working, right? And so when I look at what these companies want, we get emails all the time. Review this printer. We'll pay you this. Go to hell. I was going to say other things, but go to hell. Kick rocks. Right. Pound sand, kick rocks, don't care. Also, I am currently stranded at my house, so that's fun. I can't leave. My 22-year-old two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive Honda Accord will not get out of my neighborhood, so I have to leave today, so that's going to be fun.
Chainsaw?
No,
Like the
no,
way
no.
out?
It's muddy.
Oh.
They're doing work on the road. Oh, Che, I can cut the tree down. That's no big deal. But the tree collapsed my gate, and just that's complicated.
Mm.
Car won't go over it. But like, I told this company, I said, hey, if you want me to do all these build videos and all these build streams and all of that, you need to pay me. I'm sorry. I need, give me X amount of money per stream. We will stream for guaranteed this amount of time. This is basically the hourly rate that I felt is reasonable. Crickets. Crickets. They were ready to send me a objectively seemed like a cool machine. And material to do the projects, which was going to be expensive material because it's a high temp printer. But as soon as I asked for money, crickets. Why? Because they're just going to find someone who'll do it for free. And the problem is when we as creators and all we do is just do things for free, we devalue ourselves at the same time.
Oh yeah. Hell, look at all those £5 dragons you can buy on Etsy now. It's not profitable to make Okay, it is still massively profitable
It's
to make
not.
dragons because people buy them all the time still at really high prices.
Labor. It's all labor.
But the labor, because you don't value your time.
Even on a Bambu, they take like 6 hours to make, and you're going to sell them for $5 to $15. Like, I'm sorry, there's no money. There's no money.
Yeah. No money.
Or like these companies that they're like, oh, we'll offer you a lucrative incentive to work with us, and it's an affiliate link. No, that's not a lucrative incentive. Like, if your product doesn't perform, and I spend all this time making a video, the affiliate link's useless. But yes, it is illegal to get paid for a review. And that's why you see a lot of channels moving away from reviews, because ultimately, we are all just trying to survive. We're all just trying to survive. Right? And
that doesn't mean, I should add, that it doesn't mean a review could end up free. So let's say from my perspective again, because it's the only perspective I have, if I gave you a printer, I would actually expect you to buy it. Mm-hmm. So that is whatever the cost of the machine is, because A, that is part of being genuine. And at the end of the day, if you don't buy your own machine, it's not an honest review. Like, you have to have that level of honesty built into the transaction of whatever you're doing. So I would expect you to buy it. But then part of the contract would be, I would say, so if it was me, I'd actually ask for quite a long contract, as I'd want you to test it for a long period of time than a 24-hour review, because again, that's not genuine. That's just, they said what they saw out the box.
Not pointing out Tom's Hardware for naming the A1 the printer of the year, and then 3 weeks later having nationwide recall. Nope, not going to point that one out. Right? That's what happens when you don't test a machine for long. Like,
yeah,
if you see a reviewer doing a review with less than 3 to 6 months of use, not just ownership, use. I need, like, on a 3D printer, if I don't have like 3 to 4 weeks of print time on it, I don't have a reasonable experience as to what this machine is. Now, if the machine was a lemon the entire time, I can give you my experience with customer service, and every company that we work with, we test their customer service. We test it 2 ways. We test it with a burner account, and then we test it with the real account, right? So the one where they know who we are, and then the one where they don't know who we are. And we give them identical scenarios, just slightly different wording so it's not obvious. And we see response times, how they respond to it. If they require machine serial numbers, I'll normally go to the community and ask for somebody's serial number, and I'll send them, if a part shows up, I'll just mail it to them at no cost. But like, we put companies to the test, because I want to know if I, as the content creator, are getting special help. And when it comes to Bambu, I was in a special department for KOL, key opinion leaders, for Bambu. And that's why I said, no, take the machine back. I don't want it. I'm done. I'm washing my hands of your company. I am done. That, to me, was my first experience with them being disingenuous. When they cut Nathan Builds Robots off of the affiliate program, which I will remind people, it is within a company's best interest to maintain as many affiliate partners as possible. It's a win. It's a win for them, the more affiliates possible. They cut him off because he was saying things that they didn't like. So they cut him off. That was their first kind of impact of they're going to control the narrative by removing a individual from a affiliate program, which is funny because, like, who gives a shit? No one uses his link. He doesn't get paid. But they realized that people would still use his link and they would have to pay this guy. And they didn't want to pay this guy. So they removed his affiliate account. That's bad business. And I'm not being malicious here. That is the definition of bad business. It is retaliatory, right? When they made the blog post about me, retaliatory, right? This act that they're doing with the community of locking down, it doesn't appear to be retaliatory, but it does continue this kind of, I would say it's more of a low-level example of control. This is the high-level example of control. But it continues the narrative of controlling the users, controlling the experience, for better or worse. Right? We might look back on this and say, boy, did we screw up. But I haven't done that yet with the Bambu video. I have certainly looked back and said, play that a little, a little fast and loose there, but I'm not wrong. I was a little fast and loose, but I'm not wrong. That's where this stuff starts to be different. It starts to be different for me where we're calling things months or years in advance, and we do another one of these streams where it's another I told you so stream.
Yeah.
I don't want to do I told you so streams. I will admit, so far, a lot of fun. Not gonna lie, a lot of fun. But I also have you here. I'm not just talking on my own, so it's nice to riff with somebody else. But yeah, I feel heavily validated that everything that I said was gonna happen is happening. Like all my
validation in the worst
I'm like,
way.
yes.
You shouldn't be validated. You should have been happy that you weren't. And then it's like, I told you so. Yeah. Now I feel.
I should be happy to eat humble pie here, and I'm not eating humble pie.
Nope.
And don't get me wrong, I love eating humble pie. I love being wrong. Being wrong is awesome. But at the same time, I also need to be real and say that that's when I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Could they go through and I don't know, backtrack all this? Sure. But like a lot of people have said, the damage is done. Will the fanboys change their tone, though? Do you think the fanboys will go back and say, you're right, Daddy, it's fine. Right? Will they walk back being pissed? Or will this be the eye-opener?
No. I think you've got 30% of people in that fan group phase where they just think everything's great, and they're more in that group because they just either they weren't critically looking at things, or it's just a nice group to be in because people are positive about the machine and they want to read what they want to see. And we're seeing it a lot with people that buy multiple Bambu Lab machines leaving. But then you've got just the ones that either don't understand, don't care, or think it's some form of like ploy to discredit Bambu Lab. And they are just going to double down. Because at the end of the day, from their perspective, it's going to be YouTuber attacks me. It's not them, it's me. Because every attack against company is an attack against them. And therefore, it will just create the cult of oneself, where they were right, and anything that's said against them is obviously wrong because they are right. And I think it's going to happen like that. You're going to have this very die-hard like group of people that will do whatever they want to say because they like the company or they're paid. It's very hard to determine how hard it is between I really like company and I'm a paid shill. They're on the same level. They will say the same things. It's almost impossible to separate. Yeah, like, I don't think it's going to separate.
Like, what level does it become a paid shill? Like, so when we went out to the UK, we visited with you guys put Amber and I up in a hotel. Does that make me a paid shill? I I don't know where you draw the line. Like, like, you know, is that technically being paid? Well, yeah,
Ooh.
non-monetary benefits it is. Did I do a
I would
review?
class that as a company perspective because the company lost money. So they paid for something.
Right.
Just because you didn't hit money, we paid for something.
Right. Yeah.
But
It is a
that feeds in, are you paid?
the
Are
IRS
you a
would say
paid shilling?
it is a gift that has value, right? So the tax code here would be that it was a gift. It was a value
Hmm.
gift. And theoretically I pay taxes on it. John Olson says you're a paid shill, but you're our paid shill. Yeah, I guess I'm the paid shill of the audience. That's fair. Yeah, like, subscribe, and
Yeah.
donate. That's right. I am your paid shill.
Yeah. I was just thinking like, what number is it for you to do something like stupid? And then I realized you just did Smurf, where
Yeah,
you
I
got
took
pied in the
pies to
face
the
for
face.
not much money.
Yeah, like we
So your
raised
price tag is quite low.
what, $4,000. I think I took like 20 or 25 pies to the face. So
Guys, if you didn't see it,
yeah.
you missed being able to cream pie Grant in the face.
Jesus Christ. I shaved my head the year prior. Like, come on, I've
I
done.
know.
But see, in both of those cases, I was raising money for charity. So, like, for me, I don't care if I look stupid for charity. None of that is a big deal.
I think you just like earning the money and being humiliated during it, and then using the excuse of it's for charity to be humiliated.
Um, I mean,
Nah, I'm just pulling your leg.
whatever you need to say to make yourself sleep better at night works for me, I guess. Uh,
Oh,
you know, yeah. Karen said best money donated ever. I don't know, man.
it was good.
The person that donated to have Alan put the Bowden tube through his nose, that was pretty good too. I'm just saying, that was pretty good too.
Look, I still don't
Um,
sleep at night, knowing that when you said pie me in the face, you meant push it into your face, not throw the pie, like everyone else thought it was and told me.
well, okay. At the same time, though, I don't trajectory of a pie, man. Think of the aerodynamics of this,
I
right?
thought hard because I didn't want to miss you. I didn't want to hit the wall behind you. I was like, how fast can I throw this? So it gives the nice slap, gives everything. Because like just pushing it is like, oh, that's funny.
Was it yours that
But it,
I think yours was the only one that I ducked for. Yes, it
yeah,
was because
mine was the last one.
yeah, you were moving so fast. I'm like, I'm not breaking my nose for this shit, and I ducked a little bit.
I, it made sense after you told me that everyone was just like pushing it in your face, and I'm
Yes.
like, oh yeah. But I just appeared and I'm like, oh, Jacob, pie me in the face. I'm like, well, pie, face, yeet. I was getting really concerned because
Oh,
I
your
also got
mother was
told
so
by,
mad at you too with the mess you made. That was what made it all worth it for me.
well, that's what solidified it because before that, I was warned
Jacob.
by Georgia not to throw it too hard to hit the back glass. And I was legitimately questioning how hard were people throwing it to risk breaking your nose and hit the back glass. So I was like, oh, I've got to do a medium throw. There we go. That was
Yeah.
worth it. That was fun.
I mean, hey, whatever whatever you need to do, right? It's for the freaking children. Um Yeah,
Oh,
I you didn't take a pie, did you? I don't think you did.
no, I
Dreams. Okay,
didn't.
I don't think you did. Your hair is too pretty for that. But
I
I'm
was
telling you, man,
very
my
tempted to
face was
say
never
yes.
softer. That stuff was it was 15% palm oil, buddy. My beard, my skin, I was glowing. I was glowing. It was great. So if in any of the videos you see my hair slicked back, it's because before we filmed that video, I was covered in vegan cream, if you will, and I had to go wash it all off. And so my hair was still wet. So actually the interview with you was after one of
I
the
think
the
it was because it
times.
was slicked back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zach Smith said can confirm. Zach also did one, I think. I think he also hit me with one. It was great. It was great. Um Yeah. Allison said,
Yeah, that was
Jacob, your
fun.
mom was awesome cleaning up behind Gray. Your mother has always been great helping me clean up. She fixed my hair 2 years ago. Actually, I got a fresh haircut too, man.
Oh, you
You
do.
know,
You got
look
fresh
at how
drip.
gray
Let's
I'm going. I'm
go.
going gray because of all your bullshit, right?
Oh,
This is not because it's a skin tight fade. This is going gray. Okay.
no,
Like,
you
geez.
didn't get electrocuted when you came to the factory. Not my problem.
Well, maybe I'm into that. You never know. Um,
Yeah, well, it's 240 volt over here. It hurts a bit more.
eh. Defy 3D is asking an academic and engineer to do something which involves momentum, acceleration, and trajectory. That's fair.
Yeah.
Probably my fault on that one. Probably my fault on that one. Tarakesh says Bambu is really shoveling their own grave. First Maker World, who doesn't care about copyright, now firmware lockdown. Interesting to see what comes next. Yeah, their
I
whole
think
issue. Like, how do you feel about the copyright with Maker World?
I think they don't care. I don't think they need to care because they've gotten to a position of, as all corporations want, a position of size where they can start breaking the rules however they want. And they should care. I know as a consumer and a person, I would care.
Mm-hmm.
But the sentiment of shoveling their own grave is right. They are digging this hole of mistrust, bad practices, just generally, they are not being the nice, warm company that the rest of the industry is. Like, there is not a single other company in additive that I know of, and this includes Stratasys, the worst, being as bad as Bambu Lab at this stage. Like, everyone has been more cordial, warmer, nicer, especially on the more consumer side. They have been what, at least compared to what we're looking at now, golden examples.
But then, like Maker World's hosted, as far as we're aware, it's hosted all in China.
Yeah.
So, and Silver Bear is saying 3D Printing World has 10 more claims that were denied on Maker World. Right. Oh, Zach Smith and Nexa 3D with the eyes. 95% of our entire personnel staff are being whatever the term, let go. Being let go. Yeah.
I will not comment on that. I know some spicy stuff.
You don't have to know the spicy stuff to know about the
Um,
business, but um yeah, I mean, I've talked about it before. We've had multiple videos about like Creality Cloud and some of these other platforms
yeah.
that operate in countries with fast and loose copyright laws, if any at all. And, people are like surprised when their models don't get taken down. Of course, they're not getting taken down. You're working with a company that has no fundamental respect for intellectual property. The only reason they currently respect it is because they were called out about it. The only reason that they have on their whole Bambu Studio thing for Persia Slicer was because Persia called them out for months. For months, Persia knew and did nothing.
And I wouldn't even say it was because they called him out. That was the catalyst. The
Yeah.
reason they did something about it was it would hurt the bottom line.
Yep.
That's literally how foreign companies do a lot of
And
their
that's how
business.
most companies do business.
That is how most, but especially ones from China in particular, because they are literally a different world from the rest of most of the Western world. They don't follow the same. They do follow similar sensibilities. Like, don't get it wrong. Like, China is actually a very advanced place. They have some of the nicest people I've ever met there. But that also is the same as the other side of a coin. It's still a coin, but that doesn't mean it respects the other side to the same level it respects itself.
There are good actors and bad actors. I mean, politics, the easiest way that I can describe it here in the States, right? Doesn't matter which side of politics you're on or if you hate politics in general. You have met someone who is an asshole politically. And then you're just like, dude, your entire ideology is based upon a religion. Religion, same deal. Is based upon
Basically the
politics.
same.
Move on. Mullet with a PLN of 25 saying, thanks for the warning. It's crazy. There's a lot of Bambu sponsorship for non-tech people, and they are the easiest victims. They are, but I do have to commend Bambu for breaking into the non-tech world of YouTube. Like they're getting in
Oh yeah.
with the woodworkers and like good on them. That's like
Yeah.
other companies that have marketing budgets, that are looking to, bring in content creators and influencers. You should be looking at what Bambu is
Mm.
doing. And I hate to say copy them, but hey, if you can't beat them,
No,
join them.
copy them.
Yeah. You know, um,
And I think this shows exactly our mindset on 3D printing versus Bambu Lab versus Bambu Lab's problems. I am more than happy to praise Bambu Lab. Like, I'm a competitor for Pete's sake. Like, as much as I like to be impartial, I'm still a
well,
competitor. And
Bambu
I will,
made this industry better, period.
yeah, they have good products. I will say that openly every single time. They have amazing marketing. Like I started seeing videos sponsored by Bambu Lab for ArcViz websites.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally the least expected area where there was like a film reviewer made a little set piece on their Bambu Lab, which was sponsored by Bambu. Like you would not get that with any other company.
No,
They know marketing and they're doing it great. And at the end of the day, more people in business is better. It doesn't matter if they go to your competitor. It just matters they're in the industry because the more there's there, the bigger the pot. The bigger the pot is better for everyone. The problem we all have at the moment is just that little last 10%. It's that EULA change. It's their terms of service change. This is where it goes from good guys Bamboo to, oh my God, guys, why did you do this? And that's the bit we need to talk vocally about, very vocally about, because if no one talks about it, it doesn't change. And then we just accept worse. And no one should accept worse.
I agree.
Yep.
3VI 1J said, please don't tell companies to copy Bambu given the cause of this discussion. On the marketing side, I think Bambu's done a lot, but I don't think many of these companies that are competitors with Bambu have a fraction of Bambu's marketing budget. Again, Bambu is funded by IDG Capital as one of their main
Yep.
fundraising sources. This is all public knowledge. This is publicly available data. You can look this up. You don't need me to tell you this. You just need to desire to find it out yourself, right? They have the money that companies like, I'm going to use their biggest competitor, Prusa, don't.
Mm-hmm.
Prusa's biggest benefit is also its strongest weakness. Like its worst weakness is its best value. It's the people. Prusas are expensive because instead of automating everything and using robots, Prusa has people. People do everything. And instead of, doing all of this where you can get government subsidies, where, you have designated shipping processes and where everything is already kind of set up, they did it local to them in the Czech Republic in Prague. I have now been to the Prusa factory twice. I have had multiple talks away from any managers, off camera, on camera too, but off camera with staff. I have never talked with somebody there who was just hating their job. They're paid well. They like what they do. They have management that, for the most part, listens, which is more than I can say for here in the States for management that I've had. And they believe in what they're doing. It's more than just a paycheck. But at the same time, those people result in massive inefficiencies as far as the company goes. And that's ultimately why their products are more expensive. And unlike other companies, other than Bambu, Prusa is also subsidizing Prusa Slicer, which everybody copies, right? Or copied. Printables. And Printables actually has real IP protection, as a lot of you got pissed off because the Benchy was taken down. Or the Benchy remixes were taken down. That's the law! The other sites aren't doing it because they don't have those rules. So, yeah, right? Bambu has venture capital funding. I don't know regarding any VC funding with Prusa. I've never actually asked or looked. My assumption is
I don't think so.
My assumption is they're pretty much bootstrapped, but they're a very profitable company now. Yes, in part due to their pricing, but they've created a system that, while inefficient, also happens to be one of the big reasons that people like me buy from them. Regardless if I've been to the factory twice or not. I was buying Prussias well before they even knew I was a person. So, yeah. Austin, Texas Prussias aren't expensive. They are valuable. They're valuable. And from a business, like we talked about earlier, I don't care too much about the purchase price of my machine. I care about what it can do for me in the long term, right? I care about its maintenance cost. I care about how long it takes me to do basic maintenance, right? Leon Young says, but isn't VC funding a bad thing for the company's future when they need to make the money back and make crazy vendor lock in with the filament? So
It depends.
yeah, I was gonna say that is like the biggest. It depends out there, right? It's so much depends. It's on a lot of senior citizens, right?
Actually, we've got me. But let's talk about me with venture capital. We've turned down venture capital, and I can tell you why.
I've turned down VC
And
money.
what it would have had. So we have, I literally get letters through the post all the bloody time saying you could get several million easily. Like apparently my company is now rated at multiple million. I'd like to know where they get that money from because I still don't take a wage because I just plonk it back into the business. But what venture capitalists allow is us to start with ungodly amounts of money to start the sugar train. Like when you get to a certain scale, things become very cheap, very quick. There is a reason you can buy 200, 300, and 400 pound 3D printers and they still earn money because they've got to the scale where it's self-sustaining. Now, what I would have to give up for venture capitalism is control. I would have to give up the type of quality that I'm looking for. I like the fact that we don't use power tools in the factory. We use hand screwdrivers because I want the person assembling it to feel every bolt as a quality check. Venture capitalism will immediately go, no, just set it to a torque rating, drill it in. We did that for the first 5 test printers. There was issues, but they wouldn't care because it would save. And I literally have an Excel document, which I won't show for reasons I don't want to get yelled at by mom for showing secret
Yeah,
corporate
don't do that,
paperwork.
please.
I don't, I'm not scared about anyone here. I'm scared about mom. Everyone should be.
Yep. Yep. See,
But it would
I always tell people you got to be afraid of the Latin ladies, but apparently the Malta ladies too, the Mediterranean ladies, dude, your mom got kind of like no once with me. I'm like, oh shit, okay, all right.
You only hit the peak. You got the public facing though.
It was when I was trying to steal the laptop so I could pay for my own plane tickets. Your mother's like, no. I'm like, it's done already. Too late. I'm like,
yeah. You got
shit.
so lucky you left with organs. Oh. But no, it's like going back to the document, if we went to power tools, we would save £35 per printer in labor. Our labor is not that much when it considers like the material cost, but labor is quite a big amount of cost in the UK. That is where the profit comes in venture capitalism because they would immediately scale you to a bit where you need that. Grant has been to my factory. It's a relatively small factory. I've done a lot of process engineering to make it basically a screwdriver plant. We don't do lots of heavy engineering.
It's like 5,000 square feet, 2 floors, so 10,000 square feet total.
It's a bit less. It's a bit less than that.
It feels that big. So
actually, no. Am I thinking meter? It's either 1,200 square meters or 1,200 square feet.
It is definitely more than 1,200 square feet.
Then it's probably meters. It's a single factory unit in the UK, a 1U unit. So if anyone knows what that is, you know the rough size. I did put a second floor in, so you know the size of our factory. I spent a lot of process engineering time to get rid of us making stuff. I don't want to be spending the labor and the time to do that. Venture capitalism and the people that we had come to us immediately said, we will give you a trying to think of the number.
It's a lot of money.
It was a 200,000 square foot factory. We would lose some control of the company. We would gain several million in marketing budget. We wouldn't ever have to do a Kickstarter again. We would have 30 to 40 employees overnight. And we would be at a scale where I would be throwing money at people, and you would know me a lot more than I currently am. I would be on every RepRap forum. I would be on every like trade show. I would have been at Formnext this year or last year, whenever.
The most recent form
Not
next.
the most recent Formnext. I would have been there with people, but I'm not, because the drawback to that is you lose a lot of what makes me part of the company. Like, I might be the CTO, but the moment that we have venture capitalism is the moment that you stop making decisions and you start making corporate decisions. And that is a very different like ballpark. Like,
Yep.
I can easily stop doing what I do and change track. I don't have any debt. My company doesn't have much debt in the first place. Like, we have no outgoings other than rent and electricity, which is a very good thing to say. So I don't mind that I'm not selling 103,000 printers a month. I do mind, however, if I'm selling none, but that's a different conversation because everyone wants to sell stuff.
Yep.
But I can float for multiple years if we really came to it with zero sales. And that's because we didn't go with VC. And I was aware at the start, as a new company with no real manufacturing background. Now, bear in mind, I do have a manufacturing background, but not in doing the factory.
Yep.
Doing the equipment, that's one thing. Doing the factory is a different thing. Product lines, different thing. The moment you get down there, I knew there will be problems. If we scaled up really quickly, there's a high chance we'll be gone in 3 years. I didn't want that. I want to be a 10, 20-year company. I want my future to be in this company.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it to be in a quick crack, like cash grab, build 2 printers, flood the market, do loads of marketing, not really support it, do the bare minimum. Like, that's what
Yeah.
happens when you go VC.
VC,
And that's
you
because that's
must
where the
be
money is.
looking at profit. You have to be.
Yeah.
You have to be looking at profit. And
if I went VC, I would be doing what Bambu Lab did. I would have had a cloud connection. I would be harvesting your data, and I'll be making fallback plans so I can then trap you into a subscription service.
Well,
and trust me, it's easy to do that when you know how to do marketing.
let's look at what DJI did. Come on, let's use
Yeah.
DJI. And so those that are just tuning in, they're asking, what's the consensus? Don't update your Bambu. But let's look at what DJI did. And since a lot of people that are working at Bambu are ex-DJI, DJI started on open source and they slowly locked themselves down. DJI is also now banned from doing business with the federal government. DJI had a major leak where it was shown that they were sending unencrypted GPS, video, and photo data to Chinese and Russian cloud servers that were then being harvested for whatever means were there. So, when you were flying a DJI drone, all of that was there. DJI recently just pulled all of their limits for you not being able to fly over for locked airspaces, fires, things like that. And we had a DJI drone crash into one of the firefighting planes over in California. Put it down for a few hours, which is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of loss. DJI now locked the market. We see the DJI Mimo app, right? An app that is not available on the Android, and I don't even think it's available on the iPhone, Apple App Store either, because it's a data harvesting app. It is only on one device in my shop, and it's the B-roll phone. A phone that has no SIM card, no Wi-Fi, no nothing. It's the same as my personal phone. Like, they're the same phones, right? They're S20 FEs, because it has expandable storage, damn it. But I can't put it on any other devices, and I need it to control certain things in our ecosystem that we use. We have the DJI Pocket 1. The Pocket 3 is an amazing camera, but it's harvesting data. Why? Because the data's worth more than the cameras. So when we look at the implications of this lockdown with Bambu, right? This, to me, to you, to a lot of users, is the first step in a command control scenario where they are basically testing the waters, seeing how far they can get, seeing how many people get pissed off and take their machines offline because, oh yeah, they know when you take your machines offline, they can just see how many machines are online. They can see how many people are actually upset at this.
Lack of information is information.
Correct.
It disappeared. Mm-hmm. It's not there. And those are two very different things.
it's one of those problems where what's the best solution? Get it offline, get it air gapped ASAP. Run Orca in stealth mode, keep your machine offline. I'm sorry, you can try to use LAN mode, but eh, you
I'll
know,
say if you don't, I wouldn't trust LAN mode.
I
LAN
don't.
mode is a promise
I
from the machine
I
that it's
just
running
I just
locally.
walk over to it with the SD card, which I
Yep.
know is more than a lot of you are used to
Mm.
doing. But if you want to maintain control over your machine, this is what you have to do. The company has shown that they are a threat to your overall freedom of operating your machine. Zach says get a Prusa. I don't disagree with that, but if you've already invested into the ecosystem, there's no point in throwing out the baby with the bathwater, okay? You have to learn how to drain the tub and not drain the baby with it, at least for right now. You can look at future plans and obviously vote with your wallet. As one should, you should vote with your wallet. If you don't like them, go somewhere else. But if you can't afford to just delete your entire print farm and put a new brand on, then yeah, you have to look at what are your best options right now. And that option, well, they want security through obfuscation. Great. Take your machine offline, obscure it as much as possible. Security through obscurity is not a good secure measure, by the way, but, disabling its ability to communicate with the outside world, pretty decent way of doing it. Let's see, we got a bunch. We had some questions come through. 3VI1J said, should we recommend everyone go LAN only to send that message to Bambu? Take them offline,
Nah.
period. Just take them offline, period. I think that's the better move. I think that's
There
a
is
better
no
move.
promise LAN only is actually offline. It's a promise by the machine that it's not going to use the WAN connection.
Yep.
And that's it. There is no promise that it's not going to send a single byte of data just to say I'm now offline.
Yep.
There is no promise it's not going to send erroneous data like once a month saying what's the time. Like you don't know what it's doing. It's a closed ecosystem where you just say, oh, LAN only means offline. No. Otherwise, they would have said offline because offline is a legal term. LAN only is not. LAN only is literally just a local network. Well, what is a local network? Does that mean your Bambu Studio app is online because you didn't tell that to go offline? Well,
It is.
yeah. Or now it means any of that data connected to your printer is being sent to the Bambu Slicer app and then being sent on. So it is LAN only, but it's not because you're still sending that data out. Like offline, firewalled, those are really the two only ways that you can do it. You have to treat it like a boat, and any connection is a way to leak information.
Yep.
And in this case, water is the information because it's a boat analogy.
Yep.
But don't trust the fact that your door that you close to stop the water getting in is locked just because the door is closed. Make sure it's locked.
Yeah.
Go offline, go firewalled. If you're really anal, put up an actual firewall like setting for both of the programs and anything else for it.
Minimally block the IP, put it on a separate
just-
VLAN, keep that VLAN from communicating. Like those are the easy things that you can do. And if you don't know how to do that, take your machine offline, disconnect it, and just
take it offline. You'll be fine.
Right. Yeah, just take it offline.
Sean with the question, will Construct 3D ever ship to the US? Yes. We've opened up shipments to the US,
Soon
not
TM.
on our website. It is live now, actually, but not on our website. So we can now ship to the US. I believe tomorrow or the day after, we're announcing our 100% completion of our US Kickstarters. We've had these machines in the past, so we actually have already done 90%. There's one machine left to go out. And it was just regulatory bullshit for a year and a half.
Yay!
Other than that, yeah. But no, we are now accepting email-based ordering. So we can give you a pro forma and all of that. The only reason it's not ready on the website yet is for some reason shipping companies want to nickel and dime you £1,000 for shipping to the US. It is not that much money. If I do it manually via an email and I put all my wording in, it's half that. and it can even be less than that. So
Okay.
I've not done it on the website yet, just because I don't want you to spend more money than you have to, even though technically, now this is bad business practice on my behalf. Good for
Shush.
you. Well,
Don't
good
say
for
bad
me.
business.
Well, it's bad business for you, but not me. If I got you to do it through the website at £1,000,
Oh, you'd
I could just
pocket the
pocket the extra
difference.
500.
Yeah, you'd
I
pocket the
pocket the
difference.
difference. I don't want to do that because I'm better than that. I will give you a better deal. Give me an email. We can send machines out via direct,
And Hot
and it'll be cheaper.
Tuna asks, "What is Jacob's company?" It's Construct 3D. Um, yeah. Let me see what else we got here. Winslow Joy asks, "How easy is it to reverse engineer STL from G code?" Joseph Perusha showed you. It's pretty simple.
Instant.
Yeah,
It's instant.
it won't give you the same clarity as the pure STL file because it's going to be the actual like layered stuff, but you can figure out what it is, right? So if it happens to be something that would be an ITAR violation, or I don't know, part of Bambu's latest community challenge, yeah, it can be reverse engineered even if it's just G code. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hell, we're talking about Bambu Lab. They don't need your G code. They've got the 3MF with the file in it. They've just got the file. They don't need your G code because they've got both. But they've got the G code as well. Just so you know.
Zach says, if you're free after this, Jacob, I might need some more rep firmware tech support. Zach, I don't know if you know this, but Jacob's also in our
Oh,
Discord server. You can just ping him in there, for
if it's
reference.
what I'm thinking, if you've just updated to firmware 3.6 beta 3, you need to update your panel juice screen firmware. Just it should be able to be done over the web UI. Otherwise, just plug a USB cable into the screen, get the bin file from their GitHub, and just flash it over. There's no bootloader. You can literally just send it over and it'll work. I believe there was a screen firmware change,
Dusty Ham
but
said,
it
can I
depends
get
on
a
the
link
firmware.
to the Discord? You can at the $10 tier and higher. Sorry, we do pay gate it. The ones that are in there understand why. The ones that aren't, hey, maybe you don't know, but we do have a lot of fun in there. Jacob said
It's
the
worth the
X.
money.
It is. It's $10, and if you're running a 3D printing business, you will get more than $10 of advice. I promise you.
Trust me, it's basically free tech support. I'm in there.
Yeah, you are. Jacob says the X.509 certificate and the private keys were just pwned from the obfuscated JavaScript. It is. It was, and we talked about it. The problem is that it's not.
They can just change it.
Yeah, we don't have the algorithm to generate the new keys, so we only have the one key. If Bambu, says, hey, the first thing you do is send a new key, screw you, the key doesn't matter anymore. We need to know how they're generating the keys. Once we know that, then Orca can easily have access to it. New Model Workshop entering the Discord. Send me an email, and I'll get you access here as soon as we're done with the stream.
Going back to LAN only mode, that doesn't mean it can't accept information from external sources either. That's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean it's sending, but it can mean it receives. So if you update your firmware and it receives a request saying there's a new firmware update, you can still be in LAN only mode, but it can still do what they've said. It could brick your machine, they could lock you out, or it could just do erroneous stuff.
Yep.
Like, go offline. Don't risk it at this point. Like, unless it gets fully jailbroken and everything's open to see, don't trust it. And that should be for any machine, I should say. Like, there is very small periods of time where you should trust a company. But come on, we live in a cyberpunk dystopia. Like, seriously, don't trust corporations. I'm a corporation. Don't trust me. Validate anything I say with someone else. Do your own research. Don't trust anything anyone says because it's so easy to be misinformed.
Yep.
Which is kind of against the point I've just
trust
made.
Nobody. Don't trust us.
Me, but
trust
don't trust
nobody.
me.
Don't trust yourself.
I need a tinfoil hat for this.
Zach earlier said that he thinks that Haribo is funding Purusha, and that is a fair statement. We don't know the answer to that, but it could be.
I've not seen any other types of sweets
and
used.
Duff said that he's not certain that I'm a real person, considering I do have a copy of myself. Yeah, I mean that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. F said it, but it's on the internet, so it must be true. Obviously. All right. I think it's time for us to wrap. those of you that are new, you don't know how this works, but I'm going to do the sign off here, but we're going to stay live. I'm going to end the recording. We do this so that we can give away some filament and it doesn't end up on the audio only recording. So that is all we have for you all today. Real simple. Don't update your Bambu, you dingus. We told you not to do this a while ago. You dingus heads kept doing it. Basically, I told you so. Jacob told you so. We're right. Damn it. Probably. Maybe. Anyways. Anything else you want to leave the folks at home with?
No, I think you did a really good job. Obviously, if you actually screw it, if you want a good alternative to a Bambu Lab printer, go to construct3d.com. So that's construct-3d.com. We sell very high speed, high performance, and high reliability 3D printers. You won't be wrong with them. They're really nice to work with. And on top of that, no cloud connection, no data security issues. And if something does break, less than 10-minute repair for pretty much anything, because everything was designed for me to be lazy. Because I don't want your machine to break, because if your machine breaks, you contact me. I don't want that. So your machine is built to last.
And based on the comments from the last video you were in, everybody thinks you're cute. Everyone calls me ugly, and they.
You know how big my ego has gotten from that?
But Jacob,
my ego has been expanded.
I'm like, bastards, y'all are mean to me, but you love this guy.
Oh no, I swear my ego cannot cope with all the compliments. I've never seen YouTube comments so wholesome. You need me on more. I need to take over. Just wholesome YouTube. That is a new like genre.
Apparently. Well, then you do the send off, and then we'll give away some filament.
Oh god, no, you put me on the spot.
If you want to be your show, you better know what the hell you're doing.
So after all, in conclusion, don't trust your Bambu Lab. Put it in offline mode. We did tell you so. If you want a really good alternative, go to construct-3d.com. If you want to be spicy, construct-3d.com/store. But in reality, you know what to do. We told you so. And hopefully you stay safe out there. If you've got contacts, come in. We'll tell you what to do. But after all, we love you. Keep making awesome.
That's not it.
That was bad. That was really bad. I know it.
No.
That was really bad. I can't do it. I've never done
you had
YouTube.
some of it.
I can't do it. I tried to copy you. I just can't do it.
Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Don't forget to leave a like and get subscribed. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Okay. We're no longer recording.
Oh, God, I hated that.
No. We're still live. We're still live.
I know we're live.
Okay.
But oh, my God. The moment I had it all planned out, I could have even done it. And the moment you say you do it, my brain goes, no.
I've done it for hundreds, if not thousands of videos. All right, let's give away some filament. I'm turning off the form. If you didn't get to it, too bad. All right, let's give away some filament. Let's give away some filament.
Hey, Grant, you've got a compliment. Both are cute. There you go.
Who said that? Who said both are cute?
DJ LSD.
DJ LSD did tell us that they are not a dude, so I'll take it.
Even better.
Yeah. You know. All right, let's give away some filament.
Important question. Does Jacob use curling tongs? No.
That's an important question.
I use a hair mask for curly hair. So I've got quite Arabic styled hair because I'm Maltese. We have a very Phoenician Mediterranean bloodline. I am half Maltese myself. I use a hair mask, then I use a conditioner, and then I use a curl activator once I get out of the shower. And then I just use a diffuser to do it. It's all natural hair, no curling iron, no nothing.
Yeah, I have curly hair, but it's not your curly. It's curly. It's Cuban curly, right? I
have to get used to how to do my hair because I'm on camera more. Otherwise, I look like an absolute ass goblin. Like, my hair is so badly kept at times. Now I know how to take care of my hair. And all 0.1% of female women that are watching that has long hair knows what they're doing. I'm so sorry that I thought you could just do hair very quickly. Like, my showers went from like 5 minutes to 45 minutes because I now know how to do hair. I'm sorry.
3D
I can't believe I had that.
You're good. 3D Experiments was the first winner. I'm getting a second winner now. I think we'll do 3. We had a bunch of people show up. So
Hot tuna with Maltese as a dog. You're right, they're adorable. Just like me, apparently.
Okay, yeah,
This
maybe we
is
gotta work
so
on maybe we gotta work on
fucked.
that.
Oh, I told you my ego's been inflated.
Yeah, I had to stay on YouTube long enough. It gets worse. It gets worse.
Oh,
Um, Jeff Benedict is the second winner. And who's the third winner? Let's see what we got. Oh, so close. Okay. Let me make sure. It was almost Joe Rust. It wasn't Joe Rust. Sorry, Joe Rust. I was watching. I'm like, it's going to be Joe. And nope. Faked me out. Let me find. It's always hard to find people's names in here. Who am I looking for again? I just want to make sure because I have to make sure they got the math right. There's a math question, and at least 4 of you have gotten it wrong. It's not my fault.
see, I've never seen what the math question is, but it can't be that hard, can it?
I'm told it's probably a good idea to include a math question. What is 7 times 6? Some people put 13. It's the most common way to get it wrong.
I can see how it could be made wrong, to be fair.
Yep. Oh, where's our last one? Jesus, where the hell are... I don't see it on my list. How did this name...
Mad Cat, I hate you so much for that.
What did he
I
say?
do not want to know that my head is slowly 3D printing my hair. I could have slept better without knowing that.
Yeah, I guess that's technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. Oh my gosh, I finally found it. BLD Designs, third winner. All right, you guys got to be in the chat. So it was 3D Experiments, BLD Designs, and Jeff Benedict. If you all are in the chat, someone tell me that they're there. You guys have like 24 hours or something to contact me via Twitter, Blue Sky, or Discord at 3D Musketeers on Discord, 3D_Musketeers on Twitter, at probably 3D Musketeers. I don't know how it works on Blue Sky. Honestly, that entire platform is weird to me. Anyways.
I've not moved over to Blue Sky yet.
All right, 3D Experiments is there. All right, I'm going to set it so you all go hang out with Mr. Steve Builds, who I am certain is updating printers, which is hilarious to me. But thank you all for coming out. We will see you in the next one. Take care. Brush your hair. I don't know. Don't update your damn printers.
Don't do it.
Don't be stupid.
We told you so.
Yeah, we told you so.